Chapter 121. Is it cooked? Sejun poked the sweet potatoes, and potatoes he was roasting with chopsticks. Thunk! The chopsticks went in smoothly, without resistance. It's done. Sejun took the pot off the fire and removed the sweet potatoes and potatoes to let them cool. While cooling the sweet potatoes and potatoes, he checked on the grilled fish for Theo and the purple locust meat for Kyungi, placing the cooked items in bowls. Yona's stir-fried peanuts were already cooked, spread on a wide plate and cooling off. Just then, Kriong Kriong. Kyungi came up from the cave carrying a massive fish. Big brother Theo, I caught a big fish. Upon hearing news of Sejun's party, Flamey had driven a giant fish from the Sea of Dimensions for Kyungi to catch. It's tuna, meow. Theo was thrilled to see the 20-meter-long fish that Kyungi had brought. President Park, when does the party start, meow? Theo, growing impatient due to the tuna, was stamping his feet and urging Sejun. President Theo, wait, we also need time to grill the tuna. Got it, meow. Kyungi, hurry and grill the tuna, meow. Kriong. How do I grill it? Kyungi tried to grill the tuna, moving it this way and that over the fire, larger than the fish itself. But that's not how you do it, meow. To Theo, a grilled fish enthusiast, it looked hopelessly unskilled. Yona, help me, meow. Kaiwat, what can I help you with? Yona, delightedly looking at the stir-fried peanuts, asked with a bright voice. Make a fire, meow. Kaiwat, that's easy. Oh, power of fire, follow my command and burn everything, blaze of incineration. Yona cheerfully created a fire at Theo's request, a very big and hot fire. That's not the fire, meow. Are you planning to burn all my tuna, meow? Theo screamed in alarm at the fire Yona had made. Just lightly touching it seemed like it would reduce his tuna to ashes. Kaiwo, then you should have said so. Although Theo's raised voice made Iona's mood soured, Theo was an essential existence providing her sound sleep, so she patiently bore with him. If it were anyone else, she would have immediately sent hellfire, but she held back because it was Theo. Is it all right? Iona patiently met Theo's demands, lowering the fire's temperature. But reduce the fire size on the bottom and a bit of the upper part, meow. Kaiwo, is this enough? No, meow. Increase the size in the middle, meow. Theo's demands were endless, and Iona's patience started to wane. Kaiwo, is this okay? Anger stage 2. Iona's anger gauge steadily rose. Theo, seemingly unaware that he was endangering his life, kept ordering Iona around. You've reduced it too much this time, meow. Kaiwo, you're too fussy. Just when Iona's patience was reaching its limit. It's done, meow. Fortunately, the fire's shape and temperature reached the state Theo wanted. Kyungi, put the tuna in the fire, meow. Kriong. At Theo's command, Kyungi placed the tuna in the fire, and the fire perfectly matched the tuna's shape. It would have been easier if he had asked for the fire to be shaped like the tuna earlier. Just wait for 2 hours and it'll be done, meow. While Theo waited for the tuna to be grilled. Kaiwo. Yona wrapped Theo's tail around herself, seeking peace of mind. Guys, let's start the party. While Theo argued with Yona and grilled the tuna, Sejun had finished steaming the songpyeon rice cake and setting up the prepared food. Meow. President Park, let's go up there quickly, meow. Theo, excited, grabbed Sejun's leg and led him atop the well-grilled tuna's body. Hold on. There was something else to do first. Sejun took 2 bowls filled with songpyeon to the dragons. Kaiser Kellyan, please try this. It's a dish called songpyeon. This way of personally taking food to the dragons pleased them, and it also made it easier for the other animals to eat comfortably. Shall we try it? It's called songpyeon. Kaiser and Kellyan asked with anticipation. Yes, inside it's filled with a mixture of sweet potato, and honey. While Sejun was explaining. Swallow. Upon hearing that sweet potatoes were inside, Kaiser and Kellyan stuffed Sompion into the mouths of the dragon statues. And then, the two dragon statues were silent. They seemed to be busy tasting the Sompion. Then enjoy your meal. Sejun greeted the two dragon statues and returned to his seat. President Park over here, meow. Bang bang. Unable to wait, Theo, who had jumped onto the grilled tuna, tapped the body of the tuna and called Sejun. All right. Sejun scooped food for himself into a bowl and climbed up to the grilled tuna. Meanwhile, the rabbits sat down and waited for Sejun to eat. Let's eat. Along with Sejun's words, the animals began to eat. President Park, hurry up and give me a churu, meow. Theo, who had sprawled on Sejun's lap, looked at Sejun and spoke confidently. It was only natural for him to be confident. Because I'm the star of this party, meow. Although it was a party to celebrate Sejun's quest completion, at some point, in Theo's mind, this party had become one for himself. The reason for hosting the party, it didn't matter, meow. All that mattered were Sejun's lap churu and a big fish. Rip! As Sejun tore the churu pouch and squeezed it for Theo to eat. Slurp, slurp, slurp. Theo started eating earnestly. And then, crunch, crunch. Kaiwat, kaiwat, kaiwat. Yona also started munching on the stir-fried peanuts she had buried in Theo's tail, grasping them greedily with both hands. Nom nom. Sejun also ate the Sompion he had made. Sweet potato. The first rice cake he picked up was made with sweet potato filling. The chewy dough and soft sweet potato mixed together as he chewed, providing a chewy yet tender texture. And at first, there was only the sweetness of the sweet potato, but soon, the sweetness of the rice began to blend with it, giving the taste a new variation as he became accustomed to the flavor of the sweet potato. Gulp. After eating one Sompion, he picked up the next one. Nom nom. This time, it was a Sompion made with a mixture of potato and honey filling. The texture was similar, but the density of the sweetness was different. If the sweet potato Sompion was a gentle drizzle, the potato and honey mixture was a pouring downpour, where everything mixed together. The sweetness of the rice was swept away by the honey, becoming indistinguishable. That didn't mean it lacked flavor, though. The heaviness of the honey acted like gravity, absorbing the other sweet flavors and creating a three-dimensional taste. Nothing beats honey flavor. Just as Sejun had enjoyed about 10 Sompion. But where did Kyungi go? Sejun looked around for Kyungi. The eating champion of the 99th floor, Kyungi, was nowhere to be seen. Kyungi. When Sejun called for Kyungi. Kryung. A faint voice came from below, along with a slight vibration. Ha Kyungi. When Sejun called for Kyungi again. Rustle, rustle. Kyungi came out, opening the mouth of the tuna. He had been busily eating the grilled tuna from the inside. The golden bat was sitting on Kyungi's forehead, shining. You? Sejun quickly checked on Theo. Slurp, slurp, slurp. Theo was still eating churu, unaware that Kyungi had touched his tuna. That was close. Kyungi, eat the Sompion now. Kryung. At Sejun's words, Kyungi responded energetically and began eating the Sompion on the table. And then, zip zip. The golden bat was seen sucking the juice of cherry tomatoes that Sejun had put on the sip as a garnish. Sejun realized that he had not prepared anything for the golden bat at the party. Is there something the golden bat might like? Sejun fell into thought. And then, he suddenly remembered the fruit. There was a pineapple he had brought from the 75th floor. Seeing it eat cherry tomatoes, he was sure that the sweet and sour juice of the pineapple would be to its liking. Just a moment. Meow. Kaiwat. Sejun hurriedly went to the field where he had planted pineapples, with Theo and Yona hanging on his leg. Oh, they've grown quite large. Although Sejun hadn't paid much attention to them, the pineapple crowns had taken root and were growing well, producing pineapples the size of fists. Pleased with the uniqueness of the pineapples, Sejun gently stroked each one. Farmer's Touch LV2 is activated. The growth of the pineapple accelerates slightly while being touched. While doing so, he examined which pineapple to pick, as he was gently stroking each pineapple. Chug. As soon as Sejun touched it, Farmer's Touch LV3 is activated. The growth of the screaming pineapple accelerates slightly while being touched. There was a pineapple with a different name. A screaming pineapple. A new variety had emerged, but the name was too ominous to simply harvest. Guys, support me. President Park, trust me, meow. Kaiwat, 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 leave it to me. Upon Sejun's request for help, Theo and Iona shouted loudly and prepared to protect him. Then, I'm cutting it now. Sejun signaled to Theo and Iona. Then, Zerg. He grabbed the pineapple crown like a tuft of hair and cut the stem connecting the fruit with his dagger. You have harvested an unripe screaming pineapple. Your job experience has increased slightly. Your proficiency in harvesting LV6 has increased slightly. You have gained 30 experience points. Phew. Fortunately, nothing happened, perhaps because it was still unripe. It'll taste fine even if it's not ripe right. While Sejun was thinking about whether the golden bat would enjoy the unripe pineapple. Crack! The middle of the screaming pineapple split open, as if opening its mouth. Huh! It's dangerous, meow. Feeling the unusual magic from the pineapple, Theo hurriedly covered Sejun's ears with his front paw and shield. Yona quickly cast a shield spell on Sejun's body. Soon, a sharp scream filled with magical power came from the pineapple. Whoosh! Although it only screamed, a wind arose, creating a light dust storm. It was fortunate. Without the protection of the two, Sejun's ears might have been deafened, or his insides might have been seriously shaken by the shockwave. President Park would have had a close call without me, meow. Kaiwat, Kaiwat, Kaiwat. Theo acted smug as usual, and Yona laughed ominously. Then, you have achieved the achievement of creating a new variety in the tower. The tower recognizes your exclusive cultivation rights for the new variety. Without your permission, no one can cultivate the screaming pineapple. Your job experience has increased slightly. Your proficiency in harvesting LV6 has increased slightly. The achievement message of acquiring a new variety appeared. But what was that scream earlier? Sejun checked the half-split pineapple. Screaming pineapple. Right arrow, a pineapple grown in the tower, full of nutrients and delicious. Right arrow, when harvested, the stored mana explodes, splitting the side of the pineapple and releasing a scream-like sound and a mana-filled shockwave. Right arrow harvested in an unripe state, the intensity of the shockwave has greatly decreased. Right arrow cultivator, Tower Farmer Park Sejun. Right arrow expiration date, 30 days. Right arrow grade C. This is a greatly decreased shockwave. He might have had to risk his life if he had tried to harvest a fully ripened one. Now even the crops, the things he had to risk his life for, were gradually increasing. As Sejun grumbled, holding the pineapple and headed to the golden bat. Pat. President Park, cheer up, meow. Theo comforted him, resting his chin on Sejun's head and stroking it with his front paw. And then, Pip. Sejun, thank you, it's tangy and delicious. Fortunately, the unripe pineapple's juice was to the golden bat's taste, and the golden bat was delighted. Chapter 122. Is this made to be used? In Gagel's conference room. What's happening with the locust swarm in Africa? I think it's time to reduce their numbers. Knowing that Gagel is deliberately reducing the food supply to some extent, political pressure from the United States and Europe began to rise as food prices continued to soar. Starting tomorrow, we plan to mass spray a newly developed insecticide that is harmless to humans across the African continent using drones. The director in charge of Africa's food supplies answered Chairman Williams' question. Good, what's the price? Although moving under pressure, Gagel's business style was to somehow gain benefits. So Gagel secretly negotiated with African governments and received compensation. We have agreed to receive farmland and mines from each government. African governments complied with Gagel's demands in order to maintain their regime, as the atmosphere was such that riots could break out at any moment due to food issues. Well, not bad. The insecticide is definitely safe, right? Yes, you don't need to worry. It won't harm humans even if ingested in large quantities, but locusts can't tolerate even a small intake. Okay, next report, Vice Chairman. Yes. At William's call, Michael began to report. We have removed all of the skeleton tombs on the second floor of the tower and turned them into experience farms, and we are working on expanding the experience farm to the third floor. And the revenue. The current revenue is 10,000 tower coins a day, roughly $10 million. Michael continued his report confidently, oblivious to what he was actually doing. Black Tower's administrator zone. Munch munch. Aileen was chewing sompion that Sejun gave her, filling her cheeks until they puffed up. Sejun didn't give Aileen a giant sompion, but Aileen used polymorph magic to take on a human form. Now, in the high mana concentration of the administrator area, Aileen could use polymorph magic without any burden. Gulp. Hee, delicious, yum, yum. Aileen stuffed in 2 more sompion in a row. At first, she thought that turning into a human was shameful, but after transforming to meet Sejun, she found the human form to be incredibly pleasing. If she were in her original dragon form, she would need to chew about 2,000 rice cakes to feel full, but in her human form, 2 were enough to fill her mouth. I should return the favor too. She wanted to repay him with cooking, but Sejun always insisted on cooking himself. Sejun thinks so much about me. I'll save cooking for later. Aileen decided to save her cooking to surprise Sejun later. It definitely wasn't because she lacked confidence in her cooking. And then, I should also enchant my scale and give it as a gift. She decided to gift Sejun a unique, special item. Kaiser's enchanted scale for Sejun made Aileen very envious. Now that she had more magical power, she could make one too. Polymorph release. Thud. Aileen returned to her original form. Where is it? Aileen rummaged around the place where she kept her things, looking for the box where she had collected the scales that had fallen off during her infancy. Dragons knew that their scales and teeth were excellent materials, so they typically saved them. Ah, here it is. Aileen picked up one of the scales. Then, ouch! She bit her finger, causing a small wound. Unlike Kaiser, Aileen couldn't just use her magic to engrave spells yet. Drip, drip. Aileen smeared the falling red blood drops on her claw. I have to finish before the blood dries. Scribble, scribble. She quickly began to engrave the magic circle with her claws. I need to plant this again. Sejun collected the seeds from the screaming pineapple that the golden bat had left behind after sucking its juice, and planted them in the field. You have planted the seeds of the screaming pineapple. Your job experience has slightly increased. Your proficiency in seed sowing LV6 has slightly increased. Due to the effect of proficiency increase LV1, your proficiency in seed sowing LV6 has increased by an additional 5%. He thought he would try growing it since it was a new breed. As long as he didn't harvest it himself, there would be no problem. After planting the seeds, let's do the dishes now. Sejun began to clear the dishes he and the animals had eaten from. Just then, the tower's administrator says she enjoyed the sompion you gave her. The tower's administrator says she has something prepared for you too. Something prepared? It not food, is it? He prayed it wasn't food, unable to forget the pond poisoning incident caused by the health soup that Aileen had given him in the past. No, he could never forget it. It had been a great shock to him. The tower's administrator says it's not food, but an item. An item few. Sejun sighed in relief that it wasn't food, but the tower's administrator apologizes for disappointing you. The tower's administrator says she will prepare food next time. Aileen thought Sejun was disappointed. No, no, I'm not disappointed at all. Don't ever cook again, Aileen. I'll do the cooking for the rest of my life. Sejun vehemently denied it, forcefully putting an end to Aileen's cooking. Then, Aileen. For some reason, Aileen didn't respond again. Instead, in Sejun's hand, a black heart-shaped necklace appeared, covered in incomprehensible characters. What's this? The solid black heart was about the size of a thumb's knuckle and was quite cute. However, it's not something weird, is it? The red unknown characters on the black heart gave an ominous feeling. Still, since a trustworthy being had given it, Sejun closely examined the necklace. Young Dragon Scale Necklace. Right arrow, the great black dragon Aileen Pratani, engraved a magic circle using dragon blood on the scale that fell off when she was young. Right arrow, it is clumsily made as it's her first creation. Right arrow destroying the scale will activate the highest grade healing magic spell. Right arrow usage restrictions. Park Sejun acknowledged by Aileen Pratani, strength 100 or more. Right arrow creator, Aileen Pratani. Right arrow grade B+. Unlike Kaiser's scale, it had to be worn, did not automatically activate and had a lower grade, but it was all okay. It was Aileen's first creation, and she even used her blood, so he was thankful and happy just to receive it. But there was one problem. Did you make this for me to use? Sejun's current strength stat was 17.8, and a strength of 100 or more was needed to destroy Aileen's scale. Aileen seemed to have given it to him to use when his life was in danger, but to Sejun, it was merely a collectible accessory. I'll accept the thought. When Sejun put on the necklace that Aileen had given him. President Park, let's go to sleep now, meow. Theo came out of the kitchen with Yona and said, What about the dishes? Kaiwat, we've finished them. Under Iona's leadership, the animals had finished cleaning the dishes. Really? Good job, let's go to bed now. Okay, meow. Kaiwat, yes. Sejun took Theo and Iona and went asleep. All right. Sejun got up. Meow. Placed Theo on his knee and, swoosh, made a mark on the wall, beginning the 279th morning of being stranded. Kwek. In the dawn, diligent mushroom ants who had already harvested mushrooms on their backs greeted Sejun on their way to the field. Since there was no need to count the harvest anymore for Job Quest, Sejun let the mushroom ants harvest freely. Right, hello, going to eat breakfast. Kwek. In response to Sejun's question, the mushroom ants moved their antennas up and down. The mushroom ants had been simultaneously pruning and eating in the cherry tomato field since lunch yesterday. For Sejun, it was killing two birds with one stone, as he could handle both the pruning and the ants' meal. In addition to pruning, the mushroom ants also helped with other farming tasks. Since their original job was similar to farming, once the rabbits taught them a few things, they quickly became skilled farmers. While Sejun was greeting the mushroom ants, snore, snore, Theo and Iona were still sleeping, snoring. First, let's eat breakfast and then try making. Where's the rice dough? Sejun looked for the wealth-devouring rice dough, which he received from Kellyan. The rabbits had carefully set it aside in one corner of the kitchen. Sejun approached the rice dough. The shape of the rice dough had changed slightly. It felt a bit bigger. What's this? Sejun examined the condition of the rice dough. There was additional information. Relic wealth-devouring rice dough. Right arrow, its abilities have increased by swallowing a massive amount of wealth. Right arrow, you can choose between rice dough and rice flour when the wealth-devouring rice dough swallows wealth. 1 tower coin for 1 kg of rice dough, 0, 5 kg of rice flour. Right arrow usage restrictions, LV, 50 or higher, magic power 50 or higher. Right arrow creator, Pong Pong. Right arrow grade. A massive amount of wealth. Sejun had only used 10 tower coins, but he had no idea that Kaiser had spent 10 million tower coins. He had been wondering whether he should dry the rice dough to make it back into flour for the dough of rice cake and makgeolli, but the problem was solved all at once. Though Kaiser had spent 10 million tower coins, they could now make tastier makgeolli, so it was a win-win for both Sejun and Kaiser. Let's eat breakfast. Today's breakfast was roasted sweet potatoes and cherry tomato juice, since they had eaten all the food prepared yesterday. Then he mixed a little water with the rice flour, made it into a slightly clumpy state, and the dough was ready to be steamed into garydiok, but it was still lacking in stickiness. Of course, there was one last process to add stickiness. Kyungi pound it very hard. Kryung. At Sejun's command, Kyungi raised its branch overhead, ready to hit the rice dough with full force. Oops! Sejun realized he had used too strong a word in his excitement. Stow! As Sejun was about to quickly stop Kyungi. Squeak! A cry from the black rabbit echoed from a distance. Kryung! Kyungi quickly turned its head towards the sound. Brother Black Rabbit. Squeak! The black rabbit, moving swiftly, suddenly appeared next to Kyungi, wearing dazzling golden clothes. Brothers here. Kryung! Kyungi eagerly greeted the black rabbit passionately. Brother. Black Rabbit, you're here, meow. Kaiwat, long time no see. Hello, Brother Black Rabbit. After almost 10 days, they were greeting the Black Rabbit. Black Rabbit, it's nice to see you, but how about floor 55 of the tower? There's no trouble, is there? Sejun asked with concern. Squeak! I came to get carrot seeds. The Black Rabbit replied, hopping onto Sejun's shoulder. The Black Rabbit had come to plant carrots on floor 55. Got it, but since you're here, could you pound this? Sejun pointed to the rice dough. He was always curious how chewy a rice cake pounded with the Black Rabbit's hammer would be. Squeak! Thump, thump, thump. At Sejun's request, the Black Rabbit began pounding the rice dough, putting emotion into it as if relieving stress. Black Rabbit, you've been through a lot, haven't you? Indeed, rebuilding a kingdom was not easy. Sejun thought he must take good care of the Black Rabbit before it returned to 55th floor of the tower. Chapter 123, Already Gone. Squeak! Bang, bang, bang. Each time the Black Rabbit kneaded the dough, it became stickier, and the dough began to glisten. You're doing well. Sejun began to prepare to make garytiok, while the Black Rabbit was kneading the dough. Kyungi, cut this. Kryung. Rip. Kyungi easily tore the exoskeleton of a fire ant worker, which couldn't even be pierced by a honeybee's poisonous stinger, as if ripping paper. And then, Yona, attach this. Yes. Sejun had Yona connect the torn exoskeleton using an adhesive spell, creating a funnel shape with a small hole at the end. Now, all he had to do was to put the dough in the funnel, press it, and the delicious garydiok would be made. At that moment, Squeak! The Black Rabbit called Sejun, saying the dough was ready. Really? Then shall we make one batch first? Sejun took some of the still hot rice dough and put it in the manual garydiok machine. Kyungi, press it slowly and gently. This time, he entered the command in line with Kyungi's compression level without making a mistake. Kryung. Press. As Kyungi gently pressed down on the dough at Sejun's command. Drip, drip, drip. The milky garydiok slowly began to emerge from the end of the conical funnel as the dough was pressed. Shall we see how it is? Sejun cut the end of the freshly pulled garydiok, and you have completed a slightly chewy garydiok. Your proficiency with cooking LV4 has slightly increased. The taste and effect of the slightly chewy garydiok have slightly improved due to the effect of cooking LV4. A message appeared, indicating that the garydiok was completed. A slightly chewy garydiok. Slightly chewy. Sejun checked the options of the dish before eating it due to the strange name. Slightly chewy garidiak. Made with the finest rice flour under the supervision of a skilled chef, and pressed into a long shape with strong pressure. Right arrow, a bumbling rice cake maker's kneading, has slightly enhanced the chewiness of the garidiak. Right arrow chef, Tower Farmer Park Sejun, Red Ribbon Kingdom's King Black Rabbit, bumbling rice cake maker. Right arrow expiration date, 10 days. Right arrow grade, C+. It wasn't strange that the Black Rabbit had become the king of the Red Ribbon, or that Choo Choo became the queen of the Red Ribbon Kingdom. However, a bumbling rice cake maker. Squeak. At Sejun's words, the Black Rabbit made an awkward expression. In fact, the Black Rabbit had awakened two jobs simultaneously when he was awakened. One was a warrior, and the other was a rice cake maker. The Black Rabbit wanted to be a warrior, and since the situation at the time wasn't suitable for making rice cakes, he naturally paid no attention to the rice cake-making job. What? You've been catching monsters with this great kneading technique all this time. No wonder I felt a sticky sensation when hitting monsters. His feeling was correct. The Black Rabbit's hammer was actually a rice cake mallet. How could he have let such a talent go to waste? Sejun didn't know, but one of the Black Rabbit's maternal ancestors was a pongpongi who created the relic, wealth-devouring rice dough. In other words, the Black Rabbit was a descendant of pongpongi, born with a rice cake spoon one. Kyungi, follow me. Sejun called Kyungi and hurried to the kitchen. Black Rabbit, I'll nurture your talent. Kyungi, prepare the pot. Kryung. Kyungi brought a large pot in front of Sejun. And then, Relic, wealth-devouring rice dough, has swallowed 100 tower coins and produced 50 kg of the highest quality rice flour. Sejun began to produce rice flour. Swoosh. Fine rice flour poured into the large pot. After pouring rice flour 10 times at 100 tower coins each, the large pot was almost full. Put it here. Kryung. Kyungi lifted the large pot and put it into Sejun's void storage. Then, as they went back outside, hello, we're back. President Theo, we're back. Two intern cats who had just arrived greeted Sejun and Theo. Huh, Black Rabbit, where are you? We ran into Lord Black Rabbit on the way. He was rushing down. He's already bolted. It seemed that the Black Rabbit, predicting Sejun's reaction, had hurriedly grabbed some carrot seeds and run away. Sejun, shall I chase after Black Rabbit? The golden bat, who would betray even his own brother without hesitation for Sejun, asked. To catch up with the Black Rabbit, one would need the speed of a golden bat. It's okay. Even if he runs, it's just the 55th floor of the tower. Black Rabbit, you'll end up in your uncle's palm even if you run. Heh. Sejun laughed like a villain. The Black Rabbit didn't know that Sejun could put things in and take them out of the treasure vault on the 55th floor of the tower. I'll put this in the treasure vault. One large pot containing 500 kg of the highest quality rice flour is inbound to the treasure vault of the Red Ribbon Kingdom. Delivery arrived before the Black Rabbit, waiting for its master. Taste the garidiak first. Sejun put the garidiak he had cut earlier into his mouth. Wow! It's insane. The dough was so chewy that it didn't lose its elasticity no matter how much he chewed. Indeed, Black Rabbit's rice cake pounding was essential for delicious rice cakes. Kryung. Kyungi looked at Sejun with desperate eyes. Is it done, Dad? Nod. Sejun, still chewing on the garidiak, nodded his head instead of answering and cut the garidiak into a length for Kyungi's mouth. However, Kryung. Kyungi shook its head before even chewing. Why is something strange? Sejun was taken aback by Kyungi's reaction, who would eat even spoiled food if it tasted good. Kryung. Kyungi shook its head again at Sejun's words, pointing to its snack pocket. No, the honey is missing. You want me to dip it in honey? Sejun took out honey from Kyungi's snack pocket and dipped the garidiak in it, then put it in Kyungi's mouth. Kriung. Only then did Kyungi nod its head. Let's start making garydyok now. Since Iona had cast a spell to keep the dough's temperature from dropping, the dough's condition remained the same. Kriung. Kyungi put in the remaining dough and began to make garydyok in earnest. But when the work was finished, the remaining garydyok was roughly 3 meters. The rest disappeared as soon as they appeared, given to the rabbits and dragons. Of course, about 90% of the garydyok made went straight into Kyungi's stomach. He now understood why freshly made garydyok tastes the best. Indeed, food is tastiest when freshly made. Next time I'll make beeksolgi, if I put sweet potatoes in. When Sejun was coming up with the recipe for the next rice cake. How much did you sell this time, Meow? Theo asked the interns about sales at the 38th floor camp of the tower. The interns were selling cherry tomatoes at the auction to the hunters, while delivering sturdy blade green onions to the Earth Defense Force. They had to keep selling, or there would be nowhere to store them. Therefore, Theo fully entrusted the interns with the sale of the inexpensive cherry tomatoes and focused on selling high-priced crops. We sold 5,000 cherry tomatoes for 6,000 tower coins. The price had fallen by almost 40% since Theo's last auction, when Theo sold them for 1.9 tower coins each. Since the interns were now selling energy cherry tomatoes every 2-3 days, the scarcity of the tomatoes declined, and the price fell. But still, thanks to the effect of increasing vitality when eaten daily and the image as a diet product, since it was the first of Sejun's crops introduced on Earth, the price decline was slower than expected, and the buyers steadily increased. And here it is. The interns brought the churu and seasonings they got from humans. Good job, Meow. Theo gave 1% of the money as an incentive to the interns. It was Sejun's farm policy. Thank you, President Theo. Thank you. The interns were thrilled to receive the incentive. They would use it to upgrade their bags and get more incentives. This was their happiness these days. The cat interns had completely forgotten about paying off their debts to shorten their contract period. But did Sejun say anything about finding the wooden board I sent? No, he said there's nothing. Really? Sejun was disappointed by the answer. He thought at least one person would contact him for 10 million won. People's suspicion has increased because the world is too scary nowadays. Even I wouldn't contact. If he found a business card on the street that said, "Contact this number and I'll give you 10 million won," he would not believe it either. I'll have to change the method. Sejun decided to think more about it and went to the field to start farming. After eating the garydyok, he wanted to move his body. Cha. Sejun got you on his own for the first time in a while. Swoosh. He started the morning of the 282nd day of being stranded, drawing a line on the wall. It feels empty without the animals. Theo and Iona had gone back down the tower yesterday. Theo went to sell crops and to receive a report on the Earth Defense Force's performance, and Iona left because she suddenly received a call from the Wizards Association. As a result, Sejun came outside, feeling both refreshed and empty. Kriung. Pip pip. As Sejun came outside, he was greeted by Kyungi and a golden bat. Fortunately, having them around lessened the emptiness. Kriung. Thump thump. Kyungi started patting its belly as it saw Sejun. He's hungry. All right, let's eat. Sejun took Kyungi and golden bat to the kitchen and warmed up the leftover grilled fish that he had prepared for Theo the previous day. Kriung. Although it was the usual meal, Kyungi ate it as if it were a delicious new dish. And Pip Pip. The golden bat, who loved fruit, sucked on cherry tomato juice. After finishing breakfast, as they were heading to the field. Squeak. Cakewek cakewek. Rabbits and mushroom ants were seen happily farming together. The rabbits rode on the backs of the mushroom ants, with the ants taking care of the bottom and the rabbits the top as they harvested cherry tomatoes. With the increase in mushroom ants, the farm operated smoothly even without Sejun. Then, roar! A roar from the pink-furred mother crimson giant bear was heard. Did they invade again? Lately, about 100,000 fire ants had been swarming once in a while, probably to reclaim their slaves. Let's go, guys. Kriung. Pip pip. As Sejun and the animals rushed towards the pink fur. Roar. Thud. Pink fur lightly struck the ground, creating a shockwave that stunned the larger ants, making it easier for Sejun to hunt. These fire ants, 1.5 times larger than the workers, were fire ant warriors with sharp teeth and thick legs. Thanks, time to make a thundercloud. Sejun expressed his gratitude to Pinkfur and prepared to use Thundercloud's skill. But just as he was about to rain down, splash! Water was sprayed towards the fire ant warriors. HMPH, save your magic power so you can cast one more. The black dragon statue spat water from its mouth. Thank you, Kaiser. Then later sweet potato rice cakes. He had ulterior motives. Throw thunder. Throw thunder. Throw thunder. Thanks to that, Sejun, who saved magic power by skipping the raining process, dropped 3 consecutive bursts of blue lightning on the fire ant warriors. Crash! You have defeated a fire ant warrior. You have gained 1,500 experience points. You have leveled up. Sejun defeated 5,000 out of 100,000 and leveled up. Roar! Boom! The rest were taken care of by Pinkfur. Kriung. Boom! And Kyungi. Tusk, 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 how can I use that? Kaiser inadvertently clicked his tongue. TL notes. One play on words, born with silver gold spoon, instead it was changed to rice cake spoon. Chapter 124. Guard Pinkfur has killed the fire ant warrior. You have gained 750 experience points, 50% of the experience points earned by Guard Pinkfur. Guard Kyungi has killed the fire ant warrior. You have gained 750 experience points, 50% of the experience points earned by Guard Kyungi. You have leveled up. You have acquired 1 bonus stat. Good. Sejun, who has reached level 55 after leveling up twice with the help of Pinkfur and Kyungi, smiled with satisfaction. He then invested the bonus stats in strength and stamina. In a game, this kind of stat distribution might make you a jack-of-all-trades, but in reality, it's how a jack-of-all-trades survives. Thus, Sejun, who had won the battle against the fire ants, led the way back to the farm, where 7,000 mushroom ants greeted them. It was their way of showing gratitude. The number of mushroom ants had increased by about 2,000 as they had been joined by additional ants, avoiding the fire ants for several days. Then, Kwek. One of the mushroom ants approached Sejun, carrying a small mushroom on its back. That's in King Oyster Mushroom, isn't it? Why? Sejun recognized the mushroom. Aside from being slightly smaller and shinier than a typical king oyster mushroom, it didn't look much different. Kwek. The mushroom ant brought it closer to Sejun as if to say, try harvesting it, then you'll see. It was full of confidence. You mean I'll understand once I see it, all right. Plug. Sejun harvested the mushroom. You have acquired Elixir, King Oyster Mushroom. Your job experience has increased slightly. Your proficiency in harvesting LV6 has increased slightly. You have gained 250 experience point. Elixir. Sejun examined the King Oyster Mushroom. Elixir, King Oyster Mushroom. Right arrow this King Oyster Mushroom, cultivated by Tower Farmer Park Sejun's tenant farmer mushroom ant, has absorbed all the nutrients around it, growing into an elixir. Right arrow, it boasts an exceptional taste and aroma. Right arrow upon consumption, all stats +1. Right arrow grower, Tower Farmer Park Sejun's tenant farmer mushroom ant. Right arrow expiration date, 90 days. Right arrow grade C. It increases all stats by 1. And it has an exceptional taste and aroma. The mushroom ant's confident attitude made sense now. Kwek. The mushroom ant seemed to ask how it was. You did well. As Sejun petted the mushroom ant's head. Kwek. It made a strange noise, showing that it liked it. Kwek. It's all thanks to you, master. I just worked hard to grow it. Ah, come on, what did I do? You guys worked hard to grow it. Kwek. Really, master, it's all thanks to you. Sejun thought it was just a polite remark from the mushroom ant, but they originally had no ability to grow elixirs. If they had, they would have worked hard to grow and consume them to fend off the fire ants themselves. Only the tenant farmer mushroom ants among them could grow elixirs. Although they were not yet ready for harvest, 5 tenant farmer mushroom ants were growing elixirs on their backs, receiving focused care from the other ants. Sniff, sniff. Kriung. Kyungi sniffed eagerly at the king oyster mushroom in Sejun's hand. It smells delicious. Be patient, let's cook it first. Sejun headed to the kitchen with the animals. Lunch is king oyster mushrooms, crop gigantification. Sejun used the skill on the elixir, king oyster mushroom. Doing so would remove the consumption effect, but leave the taste and aroma unchanged, only increasing the quantity. However, you have used crop gigantification LV2 on the king oyster mushroom. The crop is an elixir and contains an enormous amount of nutrients. The degree of crop gigantification is greatly increased. Puff. The elixir's enlargement was much greater than Sejun anticipated. Thump. The enlarged king oyster mushroom broke through the kitchen roof, growing even larger. Everybody get out. Sejun hurriedly shouted as they exited. Fortunately, thanks to the sturdy construction by the gray rabbit and black minotaurs, the kitchen didn't collapse. Wow! Sejun marveled at the giant king oyster mushroom from outside the kitchen. It was the first time he had seen such a large mushroom since Anton's mushroom cloud one. Kuyang. Looking at the 10 m tall king oyster mushroom, Pinkfur felt delighted. It seemed like it would have a chewy texture. Pinkfur moved the mushroom somewhere else. The mushroom was too big to do anything with it inside the kitchen. Kuyang. Whoosh! The mushroom was moved, and now the feasting could begin. Pinkfur pulled the giant king oyster mushroom from the kitchen and moved it to the empty ground. Okay, now divide it into 5 pieces vertically. Kuyang. At Sejun's words, Pinkfur conjured mana and injected into its claws, creating 4 magical claws. Then, swoosh! Pinkfur swung its magical claws from top to bottom towards the giant king oyster mushroom, and in an instant, it was divided into 5 parts. Kuyang. Pinkfur held the giant mushroom so it wouldn't fall and laid it on the ground. And so began the king oyster mushroom party. As Pinkfur ate the top part, and the mushroom ants began to eat the bottom. Munch, munch. The scent flowing from the king oyster mushrooms tempted the black minotaurs. They approached, drooling. You guys take one too, and eat it with Minotaur King. Sejun gave one of the 5 pieces to the black minotaur. Chomp. The minotaurs used their horn, infused with magic like a knife, to cut the mushroom and carried it away. Let's eat too. After distributing the mushrooms, Sejun, Kyungi, and the rabbits ate the king oyster mushrooms. They ate them raw at first, then made steamed mushrooms and grilled mushrooms when they got tired of the raw taste. So pity, if only there were alcohol, I would have paired it right away. Thinking about alcohol again. Kellyan scolded Kaiser, who was feeling regretful while looking at the king oyster mushrooms. Kellyan, do you want more? No, I've eaten a lot. Unlike Aileen, the 2 dragons did not eat much. Aileen want more. The tower's administrator says she's full now. Really? You used to say you had to eat a whole large pot to feel slightly full, remember? You're not sick, are you? Naturally, if a child who used to eat a bowl of rice suddenly eats only half a bowl, you worry that something might be wrong. Sejun was worried about Aileen. The tower's administrator says you should worry about yourself first. Okay. He worried about others again. The tower's administrator says she's happy that you're worried about her. Really? I'll keep worrying about Aileen from now on. Well, Aileen. The conversation was cut off again. But what about this? Despite everyone's efforts to eat a lot, one of the 5 divided pieces was left. We'll have to eat this tomorrow. Sejun thought he would eat the remaining king oyster mushroom tomorrow when Kryung. Kyungi lay on the king oyster mushroom and called Sejun. It's nap time, Daddy. Shall we rest then? They were feeling drowsy after eating so much. Sejun lay down next to Kyungi. The king oyster mushroom's flesh sank in, swallowing Sejun's body. Wow, this is totally like latex. Sejun spoke, admiring the recovery of the king oyster mushroom that bounced back after he got up. I have to cut this up and take it home later. It seemed like it would be a good substitute for a mattress. Kryung. Kryuk. Kyungi pushed Sejun's chest gently, urging him to lie down quickly, using one of his front paws. It was heavy, but since there was only one front paw, it was bearable. And flap flap. The golden bat, which likes dark places, nestled between Sejun and Kyungi. Snore. These is a. Brrrr. The 3 fell asleep like that. 30 minutes later. Kuyang. The sudden roar of pink fur startled Sejun, Kyungi, and the golden bat, awake. What's going on? What happening? Sejun quickly looked around. Kiek. They were surrounded by nearly 1,000,000 fire ant warriors and workers. The rich scent of king oyster mushrooms had spread to where the fire ants were, attracting them. That's too many. If those fire ants started using fire, there would be no way to protect the farm. Then, go and pay for the food. I'm out of magic power. I'll step in. At Kaiser's words, Kellyan flew towards the fire ants. Then, insects take your lives. With a word he returned. Word. At Kellyan's words, the fire ants burned themselves to death. No fire ant screamed or resisted. They embraced death without hesitation, as if it were a natural thing. Killing 1,000,000 fire ants with a single word, a dragon was indeed a dragon. Sometimes they might look silly, but at times like this, they were terrifying. I need to get along with them. Sejun resolved not to mess with the get closer to the dragons in the future. 91st floor of the tower, Wizards Association headquarters. Kaiwat. How far along is the excavation of the Holy Stone? Yona, who had rushed over after receiving the association's message, asked as she sat in the chair at the head of the conference room table. Judging by the detector's intensity, it's within 100 meters. Ganova, having the appearance of a hyena, answered. Yona had rushed over here after receiving a message that a holy stone had been detected in the Mana Stone Mine on the 77th floor of the tower, managed by the Wizard Tower. It is known that the holy stone is a fallen star from the sky, and once acknowledged as its master, its special power protects the owner. I should give it to Sejun. As soon as Iona received the message, she thought of giving the holy stone to Sejun. She had known for some time that Sejun was not a great black dragon. At first, she thought it was a game where he pretended to be weak, but she was no fool. Watching Sejun and other animals by his side, she couldn't help but notice. What's more, the dragon statues were worrying about Sejun. Comparing the power emanating from Sejun and the dragon statues, it was even more clear. Sejun's power was similar to that of the hunters who had recently begun entering the tower. At first, she was slightly angry about being deceived, but what did that matter? It was fun to be together, and as long as she could sleep without nightmares, that was all that mattered. Therefore, Sejun's safety was more important than anything, even if he was as weak as a sunfish too, all for the sake of her good sleep. While Yona was thinking of giving the holy stone to Sejun. Let's head to the mine quickly, Yona. Kaiwat, yes. Ganova guided Yona to a magic circle connected to the Mana stone mine. Then let's depart. When Ganova activated the magic circle. Whoosh! The two vanished. Ganova's eyes watching Iona were cold and fierce. Shall we check how Black Rabbit is doing? Sejun used the guardian rabbit statue to inspect the Red Ribbon Kingdom's treasure vault. Since Sejun put in rice flour, Black Rabbit had been making dough whenever he had time. Current list of items available for withdrawal from the Red Ribbon Kingdom's treasure vault. Total 23,911,814 items. Dough 1 kg x 5. Right arrow gold bars x 10,000. Right arrow silver bars x 50,000. Right arrow land deed for the 77th floor farm. Right arrow land deed for the 83rd floor farm. Sejun had withdrawn the tower coins and deposited them in the seed bank, and the mithril ore was given to Iona for her magical experiments. But what are these farm land deeds? Kriung. Let's take it out first. It might be something to eat. Then shall we take out the land deed for the 77th floor? Sejun decided to take out the land deed to examine it. Withdrawing one land deed of the 77th floor farm from the Red Ribbon Kingdom's treasure vault. Poof! A roundly rolled-up leather document appeared in Sejun's hand. Then, the summoning function for the initial engraving of the land deed for the 77th floor farm has been activated. Huh! Sejun suddenly vanished. And then, Kryuwang. Daddy gone. Kyungi cried out, searching for the suddenly vanished Sejun. TL notes. 1. If you've forgotten, he is referring to the time when Anton killed the corrupted ent imbued with Blue Moon's energy. Chapter 72. 2. Sejun is being compared to a sunfish here, and this comparison will continue in future chapters as well. For readers who are not familiar with the sunfish, I have attached a ranking of various ways a sunfish might die. When you read this, you will grasp the basic idea of why he is being compared to a sunfish and why it's funny. Chapter 125. Kuung. When Kyungi's cry hadn't stopped for a long time. Koung. Feeling that something was amiss, Mother Crimson Giant Bear i.e. Pinkfur quickly rushed over. Something had definitely happened. Normally, Sejun would calm Kyungi down, and Kyungi would soon stop crying. Koung. As Pinkfur arrived where Kyungi's crying was coming from. Kuung. Sejun was nowhere to be found, and Kyungi was crying fiercely. Squeak. Kwek. Rabbits and mushroom ants nearby tried to calm Kyungi down, but they couldn't approach recklessly because Kyungi was moving violently while crying. Koung. Pinkfur asked Kyungi while stroking him to stop his crying what the reason was. Why are you crying? Kuang Koung. Dad has gone alone to the 77th floor of the tower. He might be getting beaten up by bad guys. Cradled by Pinkfur, Kyungi answered, crying even more sorrowfully and fiercely. Koung. Pinkfur was taken aback by Kyungi's words. The situation was serious. Then, where did Sejun go? Kaiser, who had been in a good mood after being treated to a full course of sweet potato dishes, including roasted sweet potatoes, sweet potato soup, and sweet potato bixialgi, rice cake, as a thank you for defeating the fire ants, asked in astonishment. Kuang. Kyungi explained to Kaiser how Sejun had disappeared. Since the dragon grandfather was scary, Kyungi held back tears and explained as clearly as possible. He disappeared when he opened the land deed. That idiot just opened it. Kaiser shouted angrily at Kyungi's explanation. Kriung. It might have opened by itself when Dad caught it. Kyungi spoke in an uncertain voice, defending his dad. But it was absurd. The land deed item without an owner was locked to prevent accidental activation at any time, as it would recognize the first person who opened it as its owner. Unless forcibly opened, the land deed would not open. Sejun had carelessly opened the land deed without even reading the instructions. Then what about my sweet potato soup from now on? Kellyan, who had liked the sweet potato soup, spoke in a sullen voice. The soup the problem right now. Kaiser yelled at Kellyan for worrying about the soup. He was utterly tactless. The problem was not the soup, but the roasted sweet pota. No, Aileen. It was Aileen that was the problem. Grandfather, find Sejun quickly. As expected, Aileen immediately pressed Kaiser upon hearing that Sejun had disappeared. Aileen, wait a moment. Since he disappeared all of a sudden, everyone, gather around me. Kaiser quickly called all the monsters from the farm to rescue Sejun, who had been transported to the 77th floor of the tower. Due to the sudden disappearance of Sejun, the 99th floor of the tower was in a complete state of emergency. You have arrived at the 77th floor farm. Is this the farm? Around him, there were nothing but hundreds of withered, dying trees. There are no monsters, right? This was the first time Sejun had come to another floor without any animals. Suddenly finding himself alone in a remote place, he looked around with anxious eyes. Fortunately, he didn't see any monsters in sight. Then, thump! Something touched Sejun's back. Eek! Startled, Sejun ran without looking back and hid behind a nearby withered tree nearby. And then, what was that? While searching for the entity that had touched his back. Sejun, where are we? A voice came from Sejun's back. Golden Bat. Yes, it's me. Flap, flap. The golden bat flew from Sejun's back to the front. The golden bat, which had been hanging onto Sejun's back, was recognized by the land deed and moved along with Sejun's body, thanks to its small size. They were lucky. Oh, it's really fortunate. This is the 77th floor of the tower. It seems like only we were transported. Sejun sighed in relief, looking at the golden bat. He was not alone. Pip pip, since the brothers are not here, I will protect you, Sejun. The golden bat flew around Sejun with a loud cry. Thanks to this, Sejun relaxed a bit and looked at the land deed in his hand. Since the land deed had transported him here, he thought that the way back would be on it too. 77th floor farm land deed. Right arrow, this land deed proves ownership of the farm on the 77th floor of the tower. Right arrow, you can be recognized as the owner of the land deed by going through the engraving process. Right arrow, it has been over 100 years since the last information update on the land deed. Right arrow owner, none. Right arrow grade, A. How do I get back? He couldn't find a way back, and there was no explanation about the engraving process either. What am I supposed to do? As Sejun frowned at the unhelpful information. The 77th floor farm land deed updates the farm's information. Update. A new message appeared. Then, ook ook. There were 100 monkeys surrounding and approaching Sejun with crude wooden spears and shields. The monkeys encircled and advanced on Sejun. HMPH, I can handle this much, bring it on. Gaining confidence from the monkeys' poor weaponry, Sejun started to create a thundercloud, ready to fight the monkeys. Ook! Suddenly, the monkeys that had climbed up the trees threw a net at Sejun. Sejun dodged it. The golden bat tried to pull Sejun away to dodge the net, but Sejun was too heavy for it. As a result, they both got caught in the net. If the golden bat had escaped alone, it would have easily avoided it, but it was caught because it was looking out for Sejun. And then, ook! In an instant, Sejun and the golden bat, surrounded by the monkeys, were tied to a long wooden stick like a rotisserie chicken and began to be transported somewhere by the monkeys. Then, the monkeys are currently illegally occupying the farm. A quest has been generated. Quest: defeat the monkeys illegally occupying the farm or negotiate and reclaim the land rights. Reward: recognition as the legitimate owner of the land deed. A belated quest. You could have told me sooner. Sejun read the message, hanging upside down on the stick and sighed. Sejun, don't worry, I can go to Earth soon. Really? Thinking about it, it had been almost a week since the golden bat had been to Earth. If it went to Earth, the rope tying the bat would naturally loosen. And then the golden bat, returning to the tower, would untie Sejun's ropes and they could escape. Although they had been caught off guard by the net before, now he planned to show them what he could do. "All right, be careful. Then I'll be back soon." The golden bat disappeared. "Ook ook." The monkey holding the stick, suddenly noticing the golden bat's disappearance, quickly reported to a higher-ranking monkey. However, "Ook ook. It's fine, we just need this one," the higher-ranking monkey said, checking the rope that tied Sejun's arm. "Ook. But will the gorillas accept him?" a subordinate monkey asked, checking the rope that tied Sejun's legs. "Ook ook. They'll accept him, he looks somewhat like us." "Looks like you where?" Sejun was infuriated by the higher-ranking monkey's words. "Ook ook. It would be good if this one lasts long. More than 100 males have died after marrying the gorilla tribe chief's daughter." "What? I'm being taken to marry a gorilla? Golden Bat, come back and save me quickly." Marrying a gorilla? That was not happening. Sejun desperately wished for the Golden Bat to return quickly. "Ook ook. We don't have time, move quickly." The higher-ranking monkey quickly moved, urging the other monkeys to move quickly. "What meow?" Theo, having arrived on the 38th floor of the tower, sensed something strange. Suddenly, Park Sejun's knee has gotten closer, meow. It felt good as Sejun's knee got closer, but the knee detector sent a signal that Sejun's knee was in danger. Something must have happened to President Park, meow. I must finish the deal and go back quickly, meow. Theo hurriedly ran towards the camp. And then, "Humans, I'm here, meow. Gather quickly, meow." Theo hurriedly called the humans together. However, "Theo, please wait a moment. Everyone's hunting on the 40th floor." The camp was completely empty. As the detoxifying green onions were released, most of the hunters who had conquered the boss of the 38th floor of the tower were now attacking the 40th floor. "Then I'll go to the 40th floor, meow." Feeling impatient, Theo decided to head to the 40th floor himself. And a moment later, "Humans, I have arrived, meow." Theo, who had gathered the hunters, began the auction on the 40th floor. "The first item for sale is the power sweet potato, meow. I'll sell a total of 10,000 pieces, 1,000 at a time, meow." Wanting to end the auction quickly, Theo doubled the quantity of sweet potatoes he was selling at once. 200,000 tower coins for 1,000. 250,000 tower coins for 1,000. 280,000 tower coins for 1,000. Bids quickly rose, starting at 200 tower coins each. Sold, meow. 10,000 power sweet potatoes were sold at an average of 290 tower coins each. The next item is 10,000 detoxifying green onions, meow. Theo hastily began the auction for the next crop. There were many crops to sell. 80,000 tower coins for 1,000. 100,000 tower coins for 1,000. Although the price of detoxifying green onions had skyrocketed in the last auction due to scarcity, this time the supply was abundant, so the winning bid was lower. Sold, meow. Thanks to this, the average winning bid per unit fell by about 30% compared to the last auction, selling at 105 tower coins each. But it didn't matter. Today was the launch of a new crop. Today's final product is the power potato, meow. Theo showed the potatoes to the hunters. "Oh, this increases stomach activity. So it cures stomach cancer." "What? A cure for stomach cancer?" The hunters were excited at the emergence of the new cancer treatment crop. Especially, the hunters with family members suffering from stomach cancer hurried to borrow money from those around them. "Then let's begin, meow. 130,000 tower coins for 1,000. The starting price was higher than that of detoxifying green onions. Even though they were both for cancer, stomach and liver cancers were different. Liver cancer had a higher mortality rate, but there were far more patients with stomach cancer. The power potato was more desired by cancer patients. Therefore, it was sold at a higher price than the detoxifying green onions. 180,000 tower coins for 1,000. Plus, it was the first time a crop treating stomach cancer had been available, so it carried a premium. Sold out, meow. So the power potatoes were sold at an average of 197 tower coins each. Total sales of 4.92 million tower coins. Another great achievement, doubling the previous total sales, but Theo couldn't be happy. His knee radar alerted him to Sejun's crisis. Theo, let's take a picture. As the trade ended, the hunters approached Theo to take a photo. However, there's no photo time today, meow. Theo hurriedly turned away from the churro in the hunter's hands and refused. And then, see you next time, meow. Theo quickly left for the place where he felt Sejun's knee. Koang, did you pack snacks? Pink Fur checked Kyungi's luggage for the last time. Kriong, I packed them. Tab tab. Kyungi answered by patting the snack bag filled with honey. Koang, what about meals? Kriong, Sister Flamey grilled a big fish for me. Kyungi showed the huge bag on his back. When Pink Fur opened the bag, it revealed a gigantic tuna cut into 3 parts. Koang, eat sparingly and take care. Kriong, I will definitely find Dad. Lick. Pink Fur licked Kyungi's body in farewell. Because Kyungi had insisted so strongly on finding his dad that he had been included in Sejun's rescue team made up of black minotaurs. As Pink Fur was bidding farewell to Kyungi. You ready? Kriong. I'm ready. Kyungi answered Kaiser's question. Can use this to know the direction where Sejun is. Kaiser gave Kyungi a compass that could detect the insignia of the mid-level administrator that Sejun had. Kriong. Then I'll be off. Kyungi, carrying a bag much larger than himself, bid farewell with a determined expression and joined the Black Minotaurs. Imu. As 500 Black Minotaurs roared to announce their departure. Kriong. I will punish all the bad guys who are bullying Daddy. Kyungi also roared, beginning his long journey to find his dad. Chapter 126, Being Worshipped. Flap flap. I must hurry, hurry. The golden bat hurriedly returned to the tower, anxious to save Sejun. What was being taken from Earth at this moment was not important at all. I'll take anything I can get. So the golden bat instinctively grabbed what caught its eye and returned to the tower. And the golden bat, who had hurried back to the 77th floor of the tower, looked around quickly but, Sejun, where are you? Sejun, who had been taken by the monkeys, was nowhere to be seen. Eastern deep part of the Mana Stone Mine, on the 77th floor of the tower. Is this the place? Yona, who had arrived at the excavation site under the guidance of the Vice Tower Lord, Genova, asked. Yes, Iona, but detecting the holy stone is not easy from here. Is that so? At Genova's words, Iona closed her eyes and used mana detection. It was to pinpoint the location of the holy stone and assist in its excavation. But this was a mana stone mine. Too many mana waves overlapped, and it took time to pinpoint the exact location of the holy stone. While Yona was focusing, analyzing the mana waves one by one, looking for the wave of the holy stone. Then take care. Jug. Genova, smirking at Yona, carefully placed down a blue orb the size of a fist and left the place. A moment later. Kaboom kaboom. Rumble. With a tremendous explosion and vibration, the mine where Iona had been collapsed instantly. Now the Lord of the Gravity Wizard Tower is me, Genova, Kuahaha. Genova laughed loudly, looking at the collapsing eastern mine. Iona, who had joined late at the Gravity Wizard Tower, had surpassed him, who had been the apprentice to the former Tower Lord, and became the Tower Lord. Although he hated Iona, his own talent was insignificant compared to hers, like a firefly's light before the sun. Moreover, after becoming the Tower Lord, she gained fame as the destructive wizard, and even became the president of the Wizards Association, solidifying Iona's position further. Just when Genova was about to completely give up on becoming the Tower Lord. Ganova, don't you want to be the Tower Lord? The Tower Lords of the other 7 Wizard Towers, including the Flame Wizard Tower, Destruction Wizard Tower, and Meteor Wizard Tower, approached him secretly. They promised that if Ganova killed Yona, they would support him to become both the Tower Lord and the chairman of the Wizards Association. Thus emboldened, Ganova chose the Mana Stone mine he had been managing to deal with Yona. The place where Ganova took Yona was where unstable mana stones were buried in large quantities. Even a small magical explosion could cause a chain reaction of explosions, so work there had stopped. Cuckoo, now it's time to go back and prepare. Ganova laughed in delight and returned to the tower to prepare for Yona's funeral. He had already thought of the epitaph. Here lies one who foolishly met their end, using magic in a place buried with unstable mana stones. Kaboom! Rumble! Even after Ganova returned to the Gravity Wizard Tower using teleportation, the eastern deeper part of the mine continued to experience chain explosions and earthquakes for a while. There were never any holy stones there to begin with. What meow? Theo, who was diligently rushing towards the 99th floor, stopped at the entrance to the 77th floor, confused. Why do I feel President Park Sejun's knee here, meow? Theo felt Sejun's knee on the 77th floor when it should have been on the 99th. This caused him to momentarily wear a bewildered expression. But, I'm going to the 77th floor, meow. Now was not the time to hesitate. He decided to trust his senses. President Park's knee is in danger, meow. The signal that Sejun's knee was in danger was getting stronger. After entering the 77th floor and moving for about 10 minutes. Meow. Theo again wore a puzzled expression. Now President Park's knee is not in danger, meow. Suddenly, Sejun's knee was safe. I'm so happy, meow. As his knee became safe, Theo happily hurried towards Sejun. Flap, flap. Sejun. The golden bat diligently flew around, looking for Sejun. And then, Sejun. It found Sejun imprisoned in a wooden prison, in the center of a village, made of hundreds of huts constructed from branches and grass. Phew. Fortunately, the monkey on guard duty was asleep. Golden bat, you've come. Seeing the golden bat that had come to find him, Sejun quietly expressed his relief. Quickly untie this. Sejun, who didn't want to marry a gorilla, spoke hastily. He had to escape no matter what since he was set to depart for the gorilla village the next morning. Yes, here, take this. The golden bat handed Sejun something it had brought from Earth. Oh, it's a banana. Sejun accepted the banana that the golden bat handed him. Is that what's called a banana? I brought it from Earth because it smelled sweet. Chop. The golden bat responded as it cut the wooden bars of the prison. Sejun carefully placed the cut wood on the floor and stepped out of the prison, only to make eye contact with the monkey who had woken up from its sleep, drawn by the sweet smell. Other monkeys rushed out of the huts at the guard monkey's cry. In an instant, Sejun was surrounded by monkeys. Golden bat, make way as soon as I attack. Yes. As Sejun and the golden bat planned their escape. An old monkey leaning on a staff walked out and suddenly bowed to Sejun. And then, the other monkeys followed the old monkey in bowing to Sejun. Why are they suddenly doing this? Sejun was taken aback by the monkeys that had suddenly started bowing to him. I don't know. The golden bat was equally confused. Is it because of this? Sejun said, waving the banana in his hand. Then, the monkeys became excited. Theo's sense was accurate. This was the moment when Theo felt that Sejun's knee were safe. Then, the monkeys illegally occupying the farm now obey you. Obey. You have reached a harmonious agreement with the monkeys. You have completed the quest. As a reward for completing the quest, you are recognized as the rightful owner of the land deed. Land deed skill, farm information LV, max is activated. Farm information. Upon rechecking the land deed, Sejun found 77th floor farm land deed. Right arrow, this land deed proves ownership of the farm on the 77th floor of the tower. Right arrow, you can be recognized as the owner of the land deed by going through the engraving process. Right arrow, it has been over 100 years since the last information update on the land deed. Right arrow owner, Tower Farmer Park Sejun. Right arrow grade, A. Right arrow skill, farm information LV, max. The skill appeared. Farm information LV, max. Right arrow size, 66,000 square meters. Right arrow crops, 5381 banana trees. Right arrow worker, one-person landowner. Special situation, the banana trees are dying of disease. Remaining lifespan 30 days, there are 749 monkeys that can be used as workers. Were those the banana trees I saw before? Sejun recalled the trees he saw when he arrived on the 77th floor of the tower yesterday. He never knew they were banana trees. I must save them. Determined to save the delicious bananas, Sejun resolved to save the banana trees at all costs. And then, ook, ook. He approached the monkeys that were lying prostrate. Moo, Kriung, Kyungi, and the black minotaurs arrived on the 77th floor of the tower. Kriung, that's the direction, Kyungi said, looking at the direction the compass needle that Kaiser had given him was pointing. Moo, moo. The black minotaurs lined up and charged in the direction Kyungi pointed. Bang! Kayak. The sudden charge of the black minotaurs crushed and killed the monsters on the 77th floor of the tower. At that moment, Kriung. Kyungi looked closely at the compass. There were two needles on the compass. One white, one black, but the direction Kyungi had given to the black minotaurs was the one pointed by the white needle. But considering the creator was the great black dragon, there was no way the direction indicated by the white needle could be where Sejun was. Kriung. Uncles, come back, we need to go that way. Kyungi hurriedly called the black minotaurs, but they had already gone too far. Kriung. There's no choice, Kyungi will go save Daddy alone. Kyungi gripped the bag strapped tightly, about to head towards where the black needle pointed when. Gurgle. A noise came from his stomach. Kriung. First, I'll eat a packed lunch and then depart. Kyungi started eating one of the 3 portions of tuna chunks from the bag. Chomp chomp. Kriung. It's lonely. Kyungi felt lonely eating something delicious alone. There was no dad to praise him for eating well, and no big brother Thea to nag him for eating his grilled fish. Gulp. Still, the grilled tuna went down his throat smoothly. Kriung. I have to find Daddy quickly. Just when Kyungi, feeling so lonely, decided he had to find his dad quickly. Guo, stop. Guo, stop eating. 2 gorillas, each 3 meters in size, hiding because of the black minotaurs, appeared in a hurry. Originally, they were watching the situation and planning to snatch Kyungi's grilled tuna, but upon seeing the tuna disappearing quickly into Kyungi's belly, the gorillas grew impatient. However, Kriung, are you targeting my meal right now? They had poked the wrong bear. Kriung, I can't forgive you for targeting my meal. They had provoked the most ferocious baby beast while eating. And the result was a scruff grab. Since Kyungi had been told by Sejun that tying was bad, he gently grabbed them by their scruffs. Kriung, are you going to target my meal again? Kyungi grabbed the scruff of the 2 gorillas with both front paws and shook them roughly. Guo. Guo. The gorillas shook their heads vigorously from side to side. They didn't want to experience Kyungi's scruff grab again. They could have been sent to the next world. Kriung. But have you guys seen my dad? Guo, Kyungi's father. Guo, oh, what does he look like? Kriung. He's very weak-looking, with only a little hair on his head. Upon hearing Kyungi's description, the gorillas imagined a taller and thinner figure, with hair only on the head, and promised to let him know if they saw him later. Kryung. Got it. Kyungi let the gorillas go and started eating the tuna again. And then, Kryung. Now it's time to look for Dad. Bam! After finishing his meal, Kyungi quickly ran towards the direction where Sejun was. Just as Kyungi set out to find Sejun, I can feel Sejun's knees here, meow. Theo had already arrived at a village of monkeys, following where he could feel Sejun's knees. And then, sneakily, President Park, where are you, meow? As he climbed onto the roof and looked around for Sejun. I'm hungry, is there anything to eat? Sejun's voice was heard. I found you, meow. Theo hurriedly ran towards Sejun, surrounded by monkeys. However, ook. The monkeys tried to block Theo, who was running toward their god. The monkeys worshipped Sejun as a god. It was because of the bananas brought by the golden bat. According to monkeys' legend, the one who appeared with bananas would save them. Wait. Sejun quickly stopped the monkeys trying to attack Theo. This is Theo, my subordinate. Okay. At Sejun's words, the monkeys hurriedly bowed to Theo. The god's subordinate is the god's messenger, the one who carries out the god's will. Pew Hu Hut, that's right, meow. I am President Theo, the subordinate of Park Sejun, meow. Theo, who enjoyed being served, proudly walked over and climbed onto Sejun's lap. And then, feed me, meow. He took out a churu from his bag and handed it to Sejun. Slurp, slurp, slurp. This is the taste, meow. It wouldn't have tasted this way without Sejun's lap. Purarar. Theo, who had been tired from searching for Sejun, concluded the exhausting day by sprawling out and falling asleep on Sejun's lap. TL notes. Wizard towers mentioned in this chapter are, as the name suggests, wizard towers. They could also be translated as mage towers or magic towers. They are in no way to be confused with the Black Tower or other towers in which Park Sejun is currently stuck. Furthermore, these wizard towers are located inside the Black Tower. Chapter 127. GRRR, hurry and find Sejun. Squeak. Yes. The Black Wolf Tribe and the Silver Wolf Tribe, who had been helping to rebuild the Red Ribbon Kingdom on the 55th floor, received a message from the cat interns. They arrived on the 77th floor with the Black Rabbit. Hegel, the scent have split into two. Sniff, sniff, so it is. Upon Elka's words, Hegel sniffed the scents on the floor. One side had the scent of Kyungi and Theo, while the other had the smell of the Black Minotaurs. Then we will also split. The Black Wolf Tribe will follow the scent of the Black Minotaurs. Yes, then we will follow the scent of Kyungi and Theo. The wolves split into two groups. And then, Black Rabbit King, will you come with us? Squeak. The Black Rabbit chose the side where Theo's scent was coming from. Theo's ability to track Sejun is unparalleled. It is almost on par with the top 10 mysteries of the tower. The Black Rabbit thought that if Theo couldn't find Sejun, it would only mean that Sejun was dead. Or perhaps he would even find him in the afterlife. Then let's go. Squeak. At Elka's shout, the Black Rabbit and the other silver wolves followed the scent of Theo and Kyungi. The descent of 500 Black Minotaurs from the 99th floor of the tower. Due to this, the bosses of the 80th and 70th floors began to move busily, tense, trying to figure out the reason for their departure. And some monsters moved down the floors in advance, preparing for any unforeseen situation. No one knew what kind of butterfly effect this phenomenon might create. While chaos was unfolding in the Black Tower, Sejun, Theo, and the Golden Bat were having a good time, being attended to by the monkeys. Ooh, I slept well. Sejun stretched pleasantly as he got out of bed and woke up feeling refreshed, having slept on the bed that the monkey tribe's chief had provided him the previous night. He had laid the king oyster mushroom mattress from his void storage on the chief's bed, and it was very comfortable. As he woke up after sleeping so well. Ook! The monkeys noticed Sejun waking up and quickly brought food. What's this? Sejun was surprised to see the breakfast the monkeys had brought. Mangoes with yellow flesh and juicy red watermelons were served for breakfast. This looks delicious. Sejun's mouth watered at the sight of the mangoes and watermelons, the first he'd seen since entering the tower. Wow, this smells delicious. The golden bat was equally excited at the sight of the fruit, especially the watermelon, which it could suck. Go ahead and eat. Sejun cut the watermelon to a size the golden bat could hold. Flap flap. Thank you. Chomp chomp. The golden bat grabbed the watermelon with its wings and started to suck on the watermelon eagerly. I'll have one too. Sejun's first pick was a mango. I'll enjoy this. Just as Sejun was about to put a piece of mango into his mouth. President Park, did you forget something? Meow. Theo's disappointed voice was heard. Huh? Sejun quickly looked at Theo, who was pouting, upset that he wasn't being cared for. President Theo, I'm sorry. Sejun hurriedly took out a churu treat. Here you go. As Sejun brought the churu to Theo's mouth. Meow, I'll let it go this time, meow. Slurp slurp slurp. Finally, Theo's pouting face relaxed, and he began to lick the churu deliciously, and Sejun finally put the mango into his mouth. MMM. As soon as he put it in his mouth, the mango's unique aroma and sweetness filled his mouth, and the ripe mango's squishy flesh melted softly. And then, gulp, the mango slid smoothly down his throat without even chewing a few times. It's delicious. Sejun picked up a watermelon after eating the mango. Crunch. He took a big bite, and the flavorful and sweet juice burst from the flesh, dribbling down the side of his mouth. What's this, meow? It's sticky, meow. Thanks to this, Theo, who had been happily enjoying the churu on Sejun's lap, got splashed with watermelon juice and had to groom himself again, annoyed. Crunch, crunch. Wow, it's really sweet. The crispy texture and sweetness with each bite were delightful. Although the watermelon wasn't cold, it was still very delicious. Sejun saved all the mango and watermelon seeds. He planned to plant them later in the 99th floor farm. Ook! The monkeys fanned them with giant leaves while they ate breakfast. Has that good? Pushu hut good, meow. Master Sejun, Brother Theo, I'm happy. It felt like they were tourists. After enjoying the fruits for breakfast, Sejun began to move in earnest. Lead me to where the banana trees are. He wanted to take a look at the banana trees that were sick. I hope I can fix them. Ook! While Sejun was thinking, the monkeys guided him to where the banana trees were. Is this what's sick? Sejun spoke as he examined the banana tree. The banana tree looked dry and dying from lack of moisture, but the fresh grass at the bottom showed that the problem was not a lack of water. Shall we look inside first? Sejun was about to peel off the dried outer bark of the banana tree when Farmer's Touch LV3 is activated. While your hand is in contact, the growth of the banana tree accelerates slightly. The banana tree is sick and lacks the energy to grow. When Sejun's hand touched the banana tree, the skill was activated. A quest has been generated. Quest: boost the banana tree's energy to overcome the illness. Reward: upgrade of Farmer's Touch to Farmer's Warm Touch. Failure: death of the sick banana tree. An upgrade. A skill upgrade. It was something Sejun had never heard of, information kept secret within each guild. But what should I do to boost the banana tree's energy? Should I give it fertilizer? Ook! Do you need fertilizer? One of the monkeys quickly brought fertilizer from the village after hearing Sejun's words. The monkeys were also farming and had been making fertilizer. Sejun spread the fertilizer brought by the monkeys around the banana tree, watered it and waited, but there was no effect. Meow, I know how to energize it, meow. Theo, who had been getting bored, shouted. What is it? President Park, just watch what I do, meow. Theo confidently stepped forward and thump thump. Wake up, meow. He began to thump the banana tree as if performing CPR. However, the banana tree is further weakened by the shock. The banana tree was too weak to withstand Theo's thumping. Hey! Sejun quickly grabbed Theo by the scruff of his neck and pulled him to his knee. Why isn't it energizing, meow? My front paw is weak, meow. Thump thump. Theo thumped Sejun's knee, frustrated that he couldn't understand. While Sejun was receiving a massage from Theo. Sejun, how about singing a song? The Golden Bat came up with a new idea. A song? Yes, hearing a song might energize it. The Golden Bat's idea made sense. Sejun had heard that playing music for plants helps them grow and improves the taste and yield of their fruits. Let's try it. Since there were no other options, they decided to try anything that came to mind. Tilde. Sejun picked up a twig and cleared his throat, preparing to sing. The banana tree is further weakened by the noisy sound. What? He was just warming up his voice. The banana tree was more sensitive than he thought. PFFFT, I must sing my song, meow. I am the mighty servant of the black dragon. Theo sang an impromptu song of his own creation to the banana tree, still clinging from Sejun's knee. The banana tree becomes upset by the arrogant song and weakens further. President Theo, stop, it's not working. Let's just chop it down, meow. Snap. Daring to become weaker after hearing his composition, the furious Theo unsheathed his claws. Then, where did the Golden Bat appear? 1. The Golden Bat began to sing a song that sounded like its theme song, something it had heard while roaming the earth. He's prepared, Sejun thought, watching the Golden Bat, and hoped it wouldn't be hurt by the banana tree's reaction. However, what? President Park, why do you let the Golden Bat keep singing, meow? There was no message that the banana tree was weakening. A moment later, the banana tree recovers a little energy from the calming sound. What's this? Sejun read the message with a dumbfounded expression. 1 hour later. You have completed the quest. As a quest reward, Farmer's Touch LV 3 is upgraded to Farmer's Warm Touch LV 3. The energy that Sejun and Theo had shaved off was restored by the Golden Bat's song, completing the quest. Sejun immediately checked the upgraded skill. Farmer's Warm Touch LV 3. Warmth is added into the loving touch of the farmer. Plants that are touched by the farmer's warm touch grow a little faster. The diseases of sick plants touched by the farmer's warm touch are slightly healed. Good. With this skill, saving the banana trees was only a matter of time. Sejun hurriedly began to heal the trees by placing his hands on them. Okay. The monkeys bowed again in awe as they watched the banana tree gradually regain its original color with Sejun's touch. It was a miracle of God. Thus, Sejun healed 100 banana trees in one day and returned to the monkey village as evening fell. The village was already preparing a festival, having heard that Sejun had healed the banana trees. Unfortunately, all the monkeys could gather were mangoes and watermelons, so there was no increase in food for the festival. Instead, dried mangoes thinly sliced from unripe mangoes that Sejun had directed to prepare in the morning were added to the menu, along with fruit wine fermented using mangoes and watermelons made by the monkeys. Still, there was too little food to enjoy the festival. This doesn't feel festive at all. Sejun started cooking, taking food out of his void storage. As Sejun began to cook, the monkeys watched his culinary skills in fascination. From the monkeys' perspective, being able to watch divine cooking was a story they could pass on to their descendants for centuries. So, they watched Sejun's cooking intently. That's how Sejun, under the watchful eyes of the monkeys, completed 4 dishes. Honey potatoes, roasted sweet potatoes, tomato soup, and stir-fried squid. Come on, let's eat. At Sejun's words, the monkeys ate Sejun's dishes placed in front of them first. Ook. The reactions of the monkeys who ate Sejun's cooking varied. Monkeys who ate honey potatoes and roasted sweet potatoes were delighted by the sweetness, and those who ate tomato soup were enchanted by the tangy, addictive taste. And ook. Monkeys who tasted the spicy stir-fried squid turned red and sweated profusely. Ook. Those who tasted the spiciness quickly soothed it with other foods, and then hurriedly recommended the stir-fried squid to other monkeys, laughing as they watched their friends suffer from the spiciness. That's when, as they were enjoying the festival, glue, glue, a monster's roar suddenly came from outside the village. The joyful time didn't last long. Ook, ok. The monkeys suddenly moved around frantically and hid behind Sejun. What's wrong with you all? Ook. It's the gorilla tribe. O Divine One, please protect us. Gorilla tribe. Then, thump thump. A crasher entered the festival, accompanied by massive footsteps. It was a huge 7-meter gorilla leading 23-meter gorillas, wearing an ill-fitting large ribbon and skirt. It was the daughter of the gorilla tribe's chief, who had been touring other monster villages to find a husband and had appeared after smelling the delicious food. TL notes. 1. The theme song of the South Korean animated series Golden Bat, Ko Hwangkumbukchui Inus, which is a remake of the Japanese anime series Agon Bat, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Japanese letter, Japanese letter, Japanese letter. Chapter 128, Found Him. 75th floor of the tower, Wandering Merchant Association headquarters. Have you found out why the Black Minotaurs left the 99th floor? Mason, the chairman of the Wandering Merchant Association, asked urgently. He needed to find out quickly why the 500 Black Minotaurs were moving down the tower to prevent harm to the wandering merchants. I'm sorry. All I found out is that the Black Minotaurs have all entered the 77th floor of the tower. Mason's subordinate answered his question. The 77th floor. Mason was perplexed. There was no strong power, abundant food, or much wealth on the 77th floor. There was no reason for the Black Minotaurs to go there. Yes, moreover, the Black Wolf Tribe and the Silver Wolf Tribe have joined forces on the 77th floor for some reason. What, they too? What on earth is happening on the 77th floor? According to information obtained from the wolves, the Black Minotaurs will return once they find the being they desire. A being they desire, so they're looking for someone. As far as Mason knew, only the Minotaur King could command 500 Black Minotaurs. However, the Minotaur King, tied to the waypoint, could not know anyone on a different floor. Everything was full of questions. Hurry and deploy the agents of the Secret Inspection Bureau to the 77th floor. We must find out who the Black Minotaurs are looking for. Mason's instincts told him that the being the Black Minotaurs sought might have a significant impact on the tower in the future. Yes. Thus, agents from the Wandering Merchant Association's Secret Inspection Bureau were urgently dispatched to the 77th floor. Kryung. Kyungi ran in a straight line toward where the compass given by Kaiser was pointing. Guyo. Qua. If anything blocked his path, Kyungi showed no mercy. Orangutans, chimpanzees, and others were grabbed by their scruffs by Kyungi. And then, Kryung, have you seen my dad? Kyungi grabbed every monster he met by the scruff and asked if they had seen Sejun, but none of them had seen Sejun, who was only in the monkey village. Thus Kyungi, who had been running and running to find his father, came upon a massive village surrounded by a red light beam. Kyungi no longer carried a bag. He had eaten all the packed meals on the way, and even the honey in his snack pouch had been consumed a long time ago. Kryung. As Kyungi tried to enter the village without hesitation. Gu, who's this guy? Gu, get lost. The gorillas guarding the village entrance blocked Kyungi. However, Kryung. Thwag thwag. Kyungi quickly subdued the gorillas blocking his path. In the meantime, Guyo, another gorilla, quickly called others, and all the gorillas in the village rushed out. Kryung, Kyungi roared and charged at the gorillas. A 1vs 500 battle. However, Kryung, thwack thwack thud. One was overwhelmingly strong. Kryung, did you see my dad? Kyungi grabbed the scruff of a gorilla that was still conscious and asked. Gu, I haven't seen him. Kryung, you're lying. Because Kyungi hadn't yet described what his father looked like. Thwack, Kyungi delivered the final blow to the lying, bad gorilla. And then, Kryung, where is my dad? As Kyungi was about to set out again to find his father. Gu, who dares to cause trouble in my village? A massive 10-meter-tall gorilla, enraged, rushed toward Kyungi. 77th floor boss Gorin. The boss of the 77th floor, Gorin, who was guarding the waypoint, was the chief of the gorilla village. Kryung. Kyungi fought in his giant form against Gorin, who looked strong. In an instant, he grew to 22 meters tall. He had grown significantly since he last fought. Kryung. Bang! Kyungi clasped his hands together and struck down on Gorin's charging head. K-bang! With a tremendous explosion, Gorin's head was buried in the ground. That was the end of it. Kryung. Kyungi moved again following the compass. Gurgle. But soon, Kyungi became hungry again. However, Kryung, there's nothing left to eat. As Kyungi was walking towards where Sejun was, holding his hungry belly. Sniff, sniff. A delicious smell wafted from somewhere. Kryung, Kryung. This is the smell of Daddy's honey potatoes. He also smelled roasted sweet potatoes and other dishes that Sejun used to cook. Kryung. Daddy, Kyungi is hungry. Kyungi quickly ran towards the smell of Sejun's cooking. Sniff, sniff. A gorilla wearing a skirt came into the village, sniffing with its nose. And then, thud, chomp chomp. The gorillas sat down in front of the food and began to eat voraciously. Other gorillas stood behind, escorting the one in the skirt. Gorina, daughter of the gorilla chief. That's a named creature. Sejun spotted the name above the head of the gorilla wearing the skirt. It seemed to be a mid-level rather than a boss. Still, it was a challenging opponent. President Theo, what do you think? What do you mean, meow? Can you beat that one? Meow. Shiver, shiver. At Sejun's question, Theo began to shake. Although he had hoped for something, he felt sorry. I shouldn't have asked. If President Park is in danger, I'll step in, meow. President Park, don't worry, meow. He still talks big. Flap, flap. Me too, I will fight too. Upon Theo's words, the golden bat also cried out, spreading its wings as wide as possible, promising to protect Sejun. Even so, it was much smaller than Gorina's finger. You guys. Sejun was moved. He suddenly realized that he was relying on Theo and the other animals. Thank you. That's the right attitude, meow. Live with gratitude towards me, meow. Pip pip, I'm grateful too. Sejun expressed his gratitude by patting the heads of Theo and the golden bat that were protecting him. Then, create thundercloud. He prepared to fight the gorillas. It would be fortunate if they just ate and left, but if not, he had to fight. Still, he felt more relaxed thanks to Theo and the golden bat being by his side. As Sejun held his breath and prepared for battle. Rumble. Gorina, who had filled its belly, began to look around. Then, rumble. Gorina's eyes widened. Rumble, rumble. Gorina got excited when she saw Sejun's face. It was her style. And, rumble. Gorina pointed at Sejun and commanded the gorillas, catch him. Sejun was strangely popular with monsters. Guys, get ready, throw thunder. Upon Sejun's cry, blue bolts of lightning fell from the thundercloud in the sky towards the gorillas. Crash, sizzle. 10 of the gorillas were stunned by the lightning, and the rest were seemingly paralyzed, unable to move. Luckily, they were clustered together, making it easy to attack. Throw thunder. Sejun used throw thunder again, stunning the remaining paralyzed gorillas. And then the last one left was Gorina. She was alone but didn't seem worried. Rumble. Rather, she seemed more excited watching Sejun fight. Not just a handsome face, but a strong male. Rumble, rumble. Gorina drooled as she charged at Sejun herself. Throw thunder. Since it was the last enemy, Sejun put all his magic power into the throw thunder skill. But, rumble. Bang. Gorina struck the ground hard, and the surrounding earth sprang up, wrapping around her. She was a gorilla that could control the earth. Crash. As a result, Sejun's thunder hit the mud wall Gorina had created and disappeared futilely. Damn it. Wobble. Sejun's legs went weak and his body trembled. He was out of magic power. Crack. Gorina broke through the hardened mud wall that had melted from the thunderbolt. And then, thud, thud. Rumble, rumble. Gorina approached Sejun with a savage smile. What to do? Kaiser had sent 500 black minotaurs towards Sejun, but Aileen was anxious. Sejun is too weak. He might die before the black minotaurs even found him. So she hurriedly started looking for a new power to give to Sejun. Although he hadn't accumulated enough contribution to receive a new power, fortunately, Sejun had plenty of tower coins. Well, the efficiency is poor, but as long as Sejun can be safe. You can convert 10,000 tower coins into 1 contribution point, and the minimum contribution required to purchase a power is 10,000. So, to buy a power with money, you need at least 100 million tower coins. Luckily, Sejun had received 100 million tower coins from Kellyan. Let's see, what power does our Sejun need to survive? Aileen quickly scrolled down the list of powers. The one she wanted to buy cost 10,000 contribution points at the very bottom. Power Punch of Great Destruction. Power Gather Below Me. Power Strong Agility. Power Strong Magic Power. And the powers at the very bottom. Since Sejun already has an indestructible body, he needs magic power to strengthen it. Great, this is it. Aileen chose a new power to give to Sejun. President Park, I'll protect you, meow. President Park, it was fun, meow. Sejun, I had fun too. Theo and the Golden Bat saying their final farewells to Sejun. You guys, this wasn't it. I can't just be protected by kids like this. When Sejun gritted his teeth and moved to fight together. 100 million tower coins deposited in the seed bank are used. The tower's administrator grants power, strong magic power to the tower's mid-level administrator badge. You can later enhance authority, strong magic using contribution or tower coins. Hub power. Your magic power increases by 50 due to the effect of power, strong magic power. Your magic power stat has exceeded 100. Talent, Magic Circuit evolves into an enhanced magic circuit. Oh guys, back off, throw thunder. Suddenly overflowing with magic power, Sejun yelled at Theo and the Golden Bat and used his skill. He simply trusted his instincts, as he had no time to check his new power and talent. Crash. When the thunder struck. Boom. Bang. Gorina created another ground wall around her to block the thunder. Rainfall. Sejun hurriedly made it rain to wet the ground, planning to let the electricity flow through it. Only around where Gorina was, heavy rain poured, soaking the ground. It's over now. As Sejun prepared for the final attack. Kyungi. From afar, Sejun saw Kyungi rushing towards him. Kyungi was quickly approaching. Kryung. I found Daddy. In an instant, Kyungi enlarged himself beneath Gorina's feet and threw an uppercut at Gorina with its right front paw. Kaboom! Bam! With a punch full of Kyungi's power, Gorina screamed in terror and flew into the distance, out of sight. Phew. Sejun sighed in relief. It was fortunate. If he hadn't been able to defeat it with thunder, it would have been truly dangerous. Kriong Kriong. I missed you, Daddy. Are you hurt anywhere? Suddenly shrinking back down, Kyungi hugged Sejun and cried. Kriong. I thought Daddy would get eaten. Kyungi had followed the smell of Sejun's cooking and ran full speed when he saw Gorina drooling at the sight of Sejun. It's okay, but did you come here all alone? Kriong. I came with the Mino uncles, but I lost them on the way. And so Kyungi began to tell its adventure. Slurp slurp. While enjoying the food Sejun had cooked. Kriong. So I beat them up. Though the story was about beating up others, the atmosphere was utterly peaceful. Thus, listening to Kyungi's adventure, Sejun's 284th night of being stranded came to an end. Chapter 129. He was this popular. TL Hanguk. The insecticide developed by Gagel was highly effective. Just 2 days after the drones had sprayed the insecticide on a massive scale, reports came in from across Africa that the locusts had been almost eradicated. The result was such a success that it could be called a triumph. As the locusts were rapidly exterminated, the leaders of various countries personally called Watson, the director of Gagel's African business division, to express their gratitude. However, 5 days after spraying the insecticide, other reports began to come in. The number of locusts was increasing again. Watson thought that perhaps the amount of insecticide sprayed was insufficient, so he ordered another round of spraying the affected areas with the same amount as the first time. But this time, there was no effect. Worse, reports came in that the number of locusts had actually increased, as if the insecticide had had a reverse effect. The locusts were indiscriminately attacking and devouring everything in sight, including people and animals. As a result, Watson was receiving tremendous protests from African governments, accusing the insecticide of creating a new mutation. How do we handle this? Incredibly, it was clear that the locusts had developed resistance to the insecticide in such a short time. While Watson was racking his brain over this vexing issue. Thump! There was a noise at the office window. Did a bird hit the window? Watson's office was on the top floor of a 50-m building, with 3 sides made of glass windows. Occasionally, a passing bird would fail to see the window and collide with it. Just as Watson was about to refocus on his work. Thump thump. Thump thump. The noise came from the window again. What's going on? Growing alarmed by the increasing noise, Watson turned his head towards the window. Huh! His eyes were met with a sky filled with birds, and following the birds were swarms of locusts. What is all this? While Watson was astonished and confused. Thump thump thump. Birds were rushing towards the window, heedless of whether they would break their heads. Could it be? Watson recalled the report that the locusts were consuming people and animals. Meanwhile, crack, crack, crack. The glass started to crack under the onslaught of the birds. I need to escape. Watson hurriedly ran towards the elevator. Crash. Shatter, shatter. Unable to withstand the birds' assault, the glass broke and birds and locusts poured into the room, engulfing Watson. Alags, help me. Lagos, Nigeria suffered significant damage from the locusts' invasion. All right. As Sejun opened his eyes to start a vigorous morning. Thump. Bahi. Kyungi pressed down on Sejun's chest with his front paw to prevent him from getting up. Kriong. Don't go anywhere, Dad. Kyungi, who wanted to sleep more with his father, pushed down on Sejun's chest, talking in his sleep. Should I lie down a little longer? Since Kyungi wanted to lie down together, Sejun decided to stay in bed a little longer. It definitely wasn't because he couldn't lift Kyungi's front paw. Though he lay down, sleep didn't come. So Sejun looked over the power he had obtained yesterday and the talent that had evolved. Power, strong magic power. Increases magic power by 50, regardless of physical potential. A simple power that just increased magic power by 50. Nothing special. Did I spend 100 million tower coins on this? Though there was nothing else to spend the money on, Sejun felt it was a waste. However, if he knew about his potential, he wouldn't have said that. Even though hunters who had reached the highest level of potential were rare and not well known, there was a stat limit that each individual wanted to increase but couldn't. If other beings had known about it, they would have been incredibly envious of this ability. But for Sejun, it was still beyond his understanding. After checking the power, Sejun went on to review the evolved talent. Talent Enhanced Magic Circuit. Constructs a powerful circuit that allows magic to circulate throughout the whole body, making mana use more efficient. Magic power stat plus 6%. Magic recovery speed plus 150%. Effective magic power increasing items plus 55%. Nothing special had been added, and the numbers had only increased slightly. It's increased by 1%, 50%, 5%. As Sejun was calculating the increased numbers. Kryung. I'm hungry. Kyungi, feeling hungry, opened its eyes and informed Sejun of its hunger. Is our Kyungi hungry? As Sejun tickled Kyungi's armpits and belly, asking. Kyungi laughed. Playing with Dad was the most fun. While Sejun and Kyungi were playing. Ook. The monkeys brought in breakfast. What's going on? Sejun felt something was off about the atmosphere. The monkeys, who had treated him with the utmost respect just yesterday. But, Kryung, I want to eat more of this. Ook. Today, most of the monkeys were clinging to Kyungi. Is power truly equivalent to authority? As Sejun was upset at being treated as leftovers when. Don't be too disappointed, meow. I park Sejun's loyal servant am here, meow. Theo lay on Sejun's lap, asserting his presence. Yeah. Sejun stroked Theo's belly, consoling himself. President Park, I'm hungry, meow. Okay. Sejun opened a churu and gave it to Theo. Chomp, chomp, chomp. But is this right? Watching Theo lying on his lap, munching on a treat, Sejun felt something was wrong but couldn't pinpoint what it was. He was already too accustomed to having Theo on his lap. Cave on the 99th floor of the tower. Master. Sejun was missing, and Flamey was sad, feeling powerless, as there was no way for it to save him. But I can't just be sad like this. Flamey exclaimed, clutching its leaves tightly. Being sad like this wasn't going to help find a way to save Sejun. And then, I'll do what I can do. The tree did what it could, which was to grow its roots. Whoosh! Flamey sent its roots down into the sea of a dimension with more nutrients, accelerating its growth in earnest. After breakfast, Sejun took the animals and moved to heal the banana trees. On the way to the banana farm. Kryung, Kryung. It's honey so exciting. Kyungi, whose snack pocket was generously filled with honey, was excited to be with Sejun. Shall we begin? With the excited Kyungi, Sejun arrived at the banana farm and touched the banana tree. Farmer's Warm Touch LV3 is activated. The disease of the banana tree is gradually healed. The banana tree's disease began to heal, and after about a minute, the banana tree's disease has been cured. Farmer's Warm Touch LV3 proficiency has slightly increased. The banana tree grows a little while touched. With the disease healed, the skill proficiency increased, and the banana tree was able to grow. To save time, Sejun tried touching 2 trees at once, but the skill only activated on the tree he touched first. If I could heal 2 trees at once, it would be faster. While Sejun was healing the banana trees, feeling regretful. Pip pip. The golden bat sang, boosting the energy of the banana trees that Sejun hadn't healed yet. And then there were Theo and Kyungi, who had nothing to do, but they were busy in their own way. As Sejun moved from one tree to another after healing. We're moving, meow. Theo, clinging to Sejun's leg, shouted. Then, Kryung. Kyungi followed Sejun, trotting along. When Sejun stopped to heal another banana tree. Thump! Kyungi attached its buttocks to Sejun's foot and sat down. That's how Sejun healed 200 banana trees in the morning, while eating lunch with the animals, who had spent their energy in various ways. Sejun! Squeak! Silver Wolf and Black Rabbit came looking for Sejun. Thanks to Kyungi clearing the path, they arrived almost as if they were traveling leisurely. "What are you guys doing here?" He spoke as if they had come without reason, but Sejun was really happy inside. So many beings moved just because he was gone. He hadn't built such connections even on Earth. Hehe, it turns out I am this popular in the Black Tower. Sejun's mood improved and he smiled. The Black Wolf tribe is here too. The Black Wolf tribe too. Yes, they've probably joined up with the Black Minotaurs by now. Bring the others here too. Sejun planned to stay here for a few days to heal the banana trees, but soon he would move to the 99th floor of the tower. If things went as planned, he could register the 77th floor waypoint and then safely move to the 99th floor waypoint, so he could send the Black Minotaurs back. But he didn't know what variables might occur in the meantime, so he was bringing the Black Minotaurs and Black Wolf tribe just in case. Safety first. Yes. At Sejun's command, a few wolves hurried off to fetch the Black Minotaurs and the Black Wolf tribe. Let's start the afternoon work. Pip, yes. The afternoon was the same as the morning. The only difference was that a black rabbit had joined in, hanging on Sejun's other leg, and started playing together. As the afternoon passed, and evening drew near. Farmer's Warm Touch LV.3's proficiency is filled and the level increases. The farmer's Warm Touch skill level increased to 4. And can place your hands on different trees with both hands, and the skill will activate separately. The new effect that came with level 4 was what Sejun wanted. Great! Thanks to this, Sejun was able to heal 300 banana trees at a much faster pace before returning to the monkey village for dinner. Let's go back now. Around the time, Sejun was about to return to the monkey village with the animals. Moo! A distant cry of minotaurs was heard. A moment later. Moo! I am here to see you, Sejun. The Black Minotaurs and Black Wolf tribe members who had come with them on the shoulders of the Black Minotaurs appeared. It seemed the Minotaurs had run at full speed, carrying the weak wolves. Let's camp here tonight. It occurred to Sejun that the monkey village was too small to accommodate 500 Black Minotaurs, 300 Black Wolf tribes, and 300 Silver Wolf tribes. Theo, Black Rabbit Kyungi, take out the grass for the Black Minotaurs to eat. Creak! As Sejun spoke, opening the void storage. Got it, meow. Squeak! Kriung! Theo, Black Rabbit, and Kyungi went into the warehouse and took out grass for the Black Minotaurs to eat. And Golden Bat, call the monkeys to come for dinner. He instructed the Golden Bat to call the monkeys. Yes. Flap, flap. The Golden Bat responded and flew quickly to the monkey village. Let's start a fire first. Snap. Whoosh. Having given his orders to the animals, Sejun snapped his fingers to light the firewood, preparing the meal. He started by making soup. He had prepared the soup ingredients during his free time and had them frozen, so he only had to put them in a pot and boil them. So he put the soup on the fire and prepared roasted sweet potatoes and potato pancakes. And as the meal was almost ready, the monkeys arrived. Thankfully, they brought mangoes and watermelons with them. Let's eat. At Sejun's words, the animals began to eat eagerly. Then, boom! The ground shook as a mild earthquake occurred. And moo! Meow! Squeak! Kriung! Feeling an incredible surge of magical energy, everyone's eyes turned towards the source of the vibration. Sejun couldn't feel the magical energy surge, but followed the animal's gaze. What's that? The direction where everyone's attention was focused. A blue light was rising from the ground, was reaching the sky. At that moment, rattle, rattle, the eastern land near the Mana Stone mine began to tremble. Chapter 130. TL Hanguk. Just before the Mana Stone mine exploded. Kaiwo, how dare you try to deceive me, Ganova. When Ganova pulled out a magic bomb, Iona, who had been detecting the magic wave of the Holy Stone, immediately tried to retaliate. Even though she had been focusing on magic detection, she had always been wary of Ganova, as their relationship had never been good. Kaiwo, I didn't think you set a trap like this. Iona prepared her magic spell with a bitter expression. Due to the unstable mana stones nearby, she couldn't use a powerful magic spell, but a great wizard like Iona could easily use enough magic to defeat Ganova without disturbing the mana stones. Just as Iona was about to cast magic on Ganova. What is this? She felt an energy different from the usual mana stones. It was the Holy Stone. Ganova had lied about the presence of the Holy Stone to lure Iona, but in fact, there was a Holy Stone in the Mana Stone mine. If Ganova had known, he would have been quite indignant. When Iona sensed the Holy Stone sensed Iona's power as well. And then, I am the Holy Stone Ice Cube, offer me your body. Kaiwo. A cold and unpleasant voice entered Iona's mind. SSSSH. At the same time, the Holy Stone's power targeted Iona, a chilling force infiltrating her body. It was clearly the power of a Holy Stone with an ice attribute, but it was also different, a somewhat darker force. Kaiwo, get lost. Iona raised her magic to repel the Holy Stone's power. But I missed him. While repelling the Holy Stone's power, Ganova escaped. At that moment, give me your body. The Holy Stone's power again tried to cling to Iona's body again. Kaiwo, I missed Ganova because of you. We need to have a serious talk. Power of magic. Obey my command and block everything. Dimension shield. When the Holy Stone annoyingly tried to cling again, Iona, thoroughly infuriated after letting Ganova escape, used ultra-high-level barrier magic that remained completely disconnected from the surrounding dimensions for several days once activated. It was to have a serious conversation with the Holy Stone. It would be simple to destroy the surrounding mana stones along with the Holy Stone, but then she couldn't give the Holy Stone as a gift to Sejun. So, although it was bothersome, she protected both herself and the Holy Stone within a barrier. For several days inside the barrier, a serious conversation went back and forth between Iona and the Holy Stone. If it had been outside, the Mana Stone mine would have exploded several times, as that much powerful energy exploded within the dimension shield. And then, cling! As the magic was released and the dimension shield disappeared, Iona emerged deep underground, holding a blue gem. The blue gem was the Holy Stone that had finished talking with Iona. The Holy Stone was quiet, whether it had a good conversation with Iona or not. Kaiwo, Ganova, how dare you try to kill me? I won't let you off. Iona prepared her magic in anger, intending to rush to Ganova and make him regret being born. Power of fire and earth, obey my command and create a volcano. Iona's magic caused a volcanic eruption. Boom! Iona's magic shook the ground, and lava began to form from the underground. Also, kabang kaboom! The unstable mana stones reacted again to Iona's magic. Ice Cube, protect me. Crackle! At Iona's command, the Holy Stone used Iona's magic power to create a solid ice barrier, a sealed hexahedron, around her body. Shortly after, with the explosion of the mana stones and the eruption of lava, Iona, encased in the hexahedron ice, was engulfed by lava and escaped from the underground. Boom! And Iona shot into the sky. Then, Kaiwat, this magic power is an energy that she could sense without detecting magic. It was Sejun's magic power, marked deliberately since it was too weak. Sejun is nearby. And that meant Theo was nearby too. Why he was on the 77th floor didn't matter. I have to sleep first. Iona hurriedly flew in Sejun's direction. For 3 days in the Dimension Shield, she had not slept a wink while harshly training the Holy Stone so that Sejun could use it without problems. I've brought news of Master Sejun. A wolf hurriedly arrived with news of Sejun on the 99th floor of the tower. So relief that Sejun is safe. Aileen, you heard that, didn't you? So don't worry too much. Kaiser reassured Aileen. Then, and it seems that Master Sejun will be delayed in returning, and he asked me to convey to Master Kaiser to take good care of the farm. What? He dares to ask me to manage the farm. Kaiser was furious, the audacity to order a dragon around. Ah, I should have given this to you first. My apologies for the mistake. Master Sejun told me to give this to Master Kaiser. The wolf took out a bottle of fruit wine made by monkeys. What? Our Sejun sent this. Kaiser's tone changed as he quickly accepted the bottle and opened the lid. As soon as the lid was opened, a rich mango fragrance wafted out. Sejun had sent a specially selected mango wine that had been well aged for over 30 years, just for the wine lover Kaiser. Tell Sejun not to worry about the farm and come back slowly. It would be nice if he brings a bottle like this every time he visits. Ha ha ha. Kaiser volunteered to be the farm manager for just one bottle of wine. And when the wolf was about to leave, I'll help manage the farm too, so tell Sejun to also send some sweet potato soup as well. Kellyanne also stepped forward, volunteering to become a farm manager. Rumble. After a ground-shaking earthquake, the ground suddenly bulged in the direction Sejun and the animals were looking. And then, boom! A massive volcanic explosion occurred, accompanied by a huge roar. Huge rocks erupted from the newly formed volcano and fell around it. Fortunately, no rocks fell near Sejun's banana farm. At that moment, thump! What? Something fell from the sky into Sejun's hand. A snow-white, fluffy hamster. Kaiwat, Sejun, nice to see you. It was Iona. Yona. Kaiwat, Sejun, use this. I'll go to sleep for a bit. The great destructive wizard Iona has permitted the use of the Holy Stone Ice Cube. You have met the usage restriction to use the Holy Stone Ice Cube. You have become the owner of the Holy Stone Ice Cube. Ice Cube, what's this? Sejun read the message that appeared as he took the blue gem from Iona and asked again. Kaiwarung. Iona fell asleep snoring. Was she very tired? Representative Theo, please take good care of Iona. Sejun carefully handed Iona to Theo. Got it, meow. As Theo, who had been hanging on Sejun's knee, extended his tail like a fishing rod to grab Iona. Kaiwat. Thump. Like biting bait, Iona reached out her adorable hand and grabbed Theo's tail. Even in her sleep, she reacted to Theo's tail. Kaiwat. Iona began to sleep soundly, curled up with Theo's tail and making pleasant sounds, satisfying her two conditions for a good nap. What's this holy stone? After confirming that Iona was sleeping well, Sejun checked the blue gem that Iona had given him. Holy Stone Ice Cube. Right arrow, a stone created when a star fell from the sky. Right arrow, it was briefly contaminated by corrupted energy, but was completely purified by a powerful force, retaining only the power of ice. Right arrow, if recognized as an owner, you can supply magical power to the holy stone and create ice in a cube shape. Right arrow, if the owner is in danger, the holy stone will automatically protect the owner by wrapping them in cube-shaped ice. Right arrow owner, Tower Farmer Park Sejun. Right arrow grade, S+. Right arrow usage restrictions. Magic power 100 or more, those with Iona's permission. Cube-shaped ice, ice cube. When Sejun poured magic power into the holy stone. Ding! A cubic piece of ice was created in front of Sejun, about 50 cm in size. That was the maximum size Sejun could create with his magic power. Squeak! Kriung! As Sejun made the ice, the Black Rabbit and Kyungi started to take an interest. They touched, licked, and even bit the ice as they played with it. Meanwhile, Sejun was lost in thought. Can I mix this with something else? Sejun took out some honey this time and said, Ice cube. He again infused magic power into the holy stone, this time thinking of mixing it with honey. Slosh. The ice cube began to form, absorbing honey from a glass jar. This time, he reduced the magic power to make it fist-sized. And then, ding! A completed ice and honey mixture, ice honey cube. Kyungi, come here for a moment. I have something good for you. Sejun hurriedly called Kyungi to show off his masterpiece. Kyungi had to love it. Kryung. At Sejun's call, Kyungi, who had been enjoying the coolness by lying on the ice, came running. Kryung. Dad, you called. Kyungi, try eating this. When Sejun gave him an ice honey cube. Crunch. Kyungi immediately bit into it. Kryung. It's sweet and cool. He couldn't contain his joy, shaking his bottom. Sejun knew he would like it. Chomp crunch. Kyungi started to enjoy the ice honey cubes. When Kyungi was enjoying the honey-mixed ice honey cubes, squeak! The Black Rabbit asked to have a carrot put inside ice for it. A carrot. Squeak! It might not work since carrots aren't liquid. Sejun decided to try it anyway. Ice cube. He prepared sliced carrots, and as he imbued them with magic power. Thump thump. The sliced carrots floated up and were enveloped in ice, forming ice cubes. It worked. It seemed like just about anything could be frozen and eaten. Squeak! The Black Rabbit urged him to hurry with the ice carrot cubes. Here. When Sejun gave it the ice carrot cubes. Crunch crunch. Squeak! The Black Rabbit happily chewed on the ice and carrot together. Just then, moo! The black minotaurs began to line up, holding the grass they were eating. You want me to freeze yours too? Moo! The black minotaurs nodded at Sejun's words. All right, Ice Cube. Sejun became an ice vending machine. Grateful for their effort to come all this way to find him, he diligently made ice grass cubes according to the Black Minotaur's request. Phew, finally done. Sejun flopped down to the ground, exhausted. Making an ice grass cube for each of the 500 Black Minotaurs had nearly depleted his magic power. However, thanks to his fast magic power recovery, he managed this much. Without it, he would have collapsed long ago. Black Rabbit, crack that for me, he said to the Black Rabbit, pointing to an ice cube containing an entire watermelon, which he had frozen earlier to enjoy later while making the Black Minotaur's ice grass cubes. Squeak! Crag, crag, crag. When the Black Rabbit struck the ice with a hammer. Creak! Only the ice broke. The watermelon hadn't frozen solid, as it had only been in the ice for about 30 minutes. Squeak! When the Black Rabbit brought the watermelon over. Thud! Sejun stabbed it with his dagger and twisted it. Creak! The watermelon split open on its own. Shall we eat? Sejun picked up the half of the watermelon. Ah, refreshing. Just holding the watermelon seemed to take the heat away. Thump! Sejun began to eat the partially frozen watermelon with a spoon. Ah, it's cold. Sejun shivered as he spoke. After about 3 spoonfuls, a chilly sensation rose from within, and he felt cold. At that moment, thwack! 1 spoon was stabbed into Sejun's watermelon. It was Kyungi. He had already eaten half with the Black Rabbit and now eyed Sejun's portion. Chomp chomp! Watching the rapidly disappearing watermelon, Sejun began to eat faster. However, eating the cold stuff too quickly led to a brain freeze. Kryung! In the meantime, Kyungi ate the remaining watermelon and made a victory V with his fingers. Kyungi, don't you get brain freeze? Kryung! Kyungi tilted his head, as if to ask what that was. That made Sejun feel even more resentful and wronged. Just as Sejun was feeling indignant. Master Sejun! Master Sejun. The wolves looked at Sejun with pitiful eyes. What about us? We want something cool to eat too. Luckily, the wolves were meat-eaters. He was able to satisfy them by giving them frozen purple locust meat from the void storage. On day 285 of being stranded, a hectic day came to an end. And the next morning, "You're leaving so early." Kaiwat, Kaiwat, Kaiwat. "Yes, I have urgent business to take care of. I'll be back soon." Yona grabbed a few roasted peanuts and hurriedly left as soon as she got up. Her retreating figure looked very ominous. Exactly who provoked her? Sejun prayed for the soul that had angered Yona.